Peace unto you. Welcome to our Sunday sacred service. Peace unto you. Welcome to our Sunday sacred service. We're going to allow a few more people to rise on in. As you see, today's mastery course is for soul level attraction. Where's your soulmate? Very, very beautiful, very, very beautiful energies flowing through us. Welcome to our sacred Sunday service. Understand that we are going to be speaking on soul level attraction. Where's your soulmate? How to find it? What serves? What is a soulmate? Does it specifically pertain to relations, or is it something beyond just physicality? Very, very wondrous energies moving through us. Allow a few more people to rise on and up in here. But as introduction, my name is Nadiie Black of the Seeker tribe, Blackfoot in English. We are very, very grateful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present with all of us. And we're very, very excited to deliver some messages for all of you. Because a lot has definitely been happening this past week. So much has happened this past week. Remember, we kept telling you that when you align yourself with these frequencies, when you really anchor the frequencies that we distribute, Source will speak to you in many, many ways, mainly because our reality is based upon our perception. So if you perceive in an open mind, if you perceive in a way that does not bring forth limitations, then that allows Source to speak to you through billboards, through sounds, through passing conversations, to how the formations of birds are, to everything becomes that which is dialogue of Source. How do we know this? Well, we ask ourselves this question. Do I believe Source, A.K.A. God, is everything? If you believe God is all, then God is all. So now, don't say God is all except for this, or God is all except for that. If God is all, then it's possible for you to get the secrets of the universe by looking at a gum wrapper. Extremely possible. It is likely, highly, if you align yourself with that which is the truth. And the truth of the matter is what we attract is not only based upon our perception, but is based upon our values. How much do we actually value the truth? We can say we're gods, or we have this power or that power, but if you actually don't value spirituality, or even the light in general, something other than the realms of physicality, if it's not valued, it doesn't matter. There's a story about when Yeshua would go into a town, and Yeshua would quote unquote heal some of the town folk. Well, one of the times in this story, one of the town people, they were speaking to Yeshua and were saying, thank you for healing me, thank you for healing me. And then he made it a point to say, I did not heal you. I do not heal. I simply guided you to seeing yourself as our Father sees you. When you really break that down, because a lot of the times when masters speak, they're not just speaking to the person they're speaking to. They're knowing that because I'm a master, people are going to hold on to every single word. So I'm going to make sure that my sentiments are not linear. Because God does not work in a linear sense. God does not say, in order to get to point B, you must go through point A. That's not how God works. Because everybody's lives is different. So Source will say, as long as you follow a path of truth, any way that you deem as serving will lead you to point B. So when Yeshua was speaking to this person and was saying, no, I didn't heal you at all, I don't heal. Yeshua would call himself not a healer. Mainly because all he does is guides people's perceptions. So if someone's ear gets sliced off, he puts his hand over their head and guides them to remembering that their ear was there to begin with. That is not a healing, it's a sight thing. It's really that powerful, it's really that deep. If I, as in Nadiie, get you to see something, you affirm it. Therefore, you attract it. You attract what you affirm. And you affirm things through the perception first. We need not our tongue. When you go into the realms of spirit, astral projecting, you will see a lot of revered masters not even talk with their mouths. You download conversations when you walk in their presence. There's a knowingness about the presence of a master, a knowingness about it. That is just a fact. I remember when I went into the astral realms and I met Yeshua, A.K.A. Jesus, follow along, for the first time. In my conscious awareness, we had many, many encounters in such a way where I kind of remembered subconsciously. Mainly because when I walked in his presence, things felt so familiar. When things are very familiar in the realms of spirit, you have experienced it before, just not consciously. Why do some beings put your consciousness aside? Mainly because us as beings of density, we assign our ego to our consciousness. A lot of the times people don't realize that. They assign their ego, their identity, their characteristics, and their personality all to their consciousness. So when you remove the consciousness and you allow the subconscious to be in the forefront, the subconscious is, where your dream realms reside in, then you have a more clearer picture of who you are. You can see that painting in full. So a lot of the times masters understand it serves to speak to a human's subconscious rather than their conscious until we know that mentally they are sane. Well, what is mental sanity? Sanity is different than the version that Earth gives us. Sanity aligns with a more spiritual integrity type of feeling aligned with it. You are sane if you are of truth, regardless of if a world of illusion say you're crazy. If you are of truth, then I guess your crazy is my sane. Sanity is simply just aligning yourself with truth. Peace unto you, KBE. Sanity is simply aligning yourself with truth. There's something called the spiritual court systems. And what does this have to do with soul level attraction and finding your soulmate? Well, if you don't understand the fundamentals of what spirituality is, perception, attraction, and frequency, then you will never be able to find your soulmate. Because most of the time, when people book sessions with me, if you want to book a session, click the link in my bio and you'll see book a session, the very first link. People that come to me with their relationship, inquiries and they're wondering where their soulmate is, a lot of the times, I have a question whenever you have a second, KB, perfect. A lot of the times people, when they come to me with these dialogues about their soulmate and where to find it, we find that the soulmate is actually next to them. It's actually in their neighborhood. It's actually up the block. Your soulmate literally incarnates with you, sometimes a few years ahead, so they may be older, sometimes a few years before, they may be younger, but they will be in your vicinity. Sometimes we found with one of our sessions that a person was planning on taking a trip to a particular city. Now, they knew of a person. They seen this person move around through, stores. They was partying and they went to certain places. They seen this person, and for whatever reason, they stopped seeing this person. Or when this person traveled to that new city, they seen the person. Sometimes your quote-unquote soulmate will go to places and wait for you because they understand that there's energy here that will be familiar for me. And that familiar energy would be you. So a lot of the times, your quote-unquote soulmate, and when we say soulmate, don't get hyper fixated on, connections that bring forth, like sexual energy. That is not all soulmates is about. Soulmate, literally, break down the word. It's a mate for your soul. It's a soul mate, a mate for your soul. One that is compatible with your existence. That's all a soulmate is. One who is compatible with your existence. By that definition, a dog can be a soulmate. By that definition, a family member can be a soulmate. By that definition, many things can be soulmates. Literally, a tree can be a soulmate. You can go to Buddha. When Buddha was meditating in front of the tree for 7 days, this tree was his soulmate. The tree is alive. It's a living being. It aligned with him. It was a mate for his soul. His frequency said, this tree, not the tree over here, not the tree over here, this one right here. A soulmate is a mate for your soul, something that aligns with your existence. So you must understand what frequency is, how reality is based upon perception and your own power before you can attract something that serves for you. Because this attraction is not very, very hard. We will get to your question, KBE. Attracting a soulmate is not hard at all. One, you must understand that limitations is placed upon self and ego before anything else. So how do we get away from ego? You get away from ego by stop thinking. Thoughts are associated with negativity within our existence. Notice, if you just do this piece of homework after this live, remember we go live every Friday and Sunday, 8 a.m. If you miss any of the lives, click the link in my bio, click Nadiie Black's guidance. You can watch all of them for free there, including this one will be posted later on. Now, what we must anchor is with soulmates, what serves for all of us to understand. Not only do they incarnate close within us and within our energy, but most soulmates, they essentially have and let's call it an invisible contract, a contract of agreements. And me as Nadiie, let's say I show up within a connection with 3 things that could serve for my soul. Let's say it's I must understand the value of conversation, I must understand the value of finances, and I must understand the value of relaxation. Let's say those 3 things are on my contract, right? Notice that a mate for your soul, someone that fits your existence, can apply to many, many things. So it's never an individual. And sometimes, most of the time that we find, the soulmate energy is like a cloud. You know, like the old cartoon shows, how when somebody is sad, they have like a rain cloud and it's like thundering. Well, the soulmate energy is like that, but instead of a rain cloud, it's like a cloud with the sun beaming. It's like, you know, that wonderful energy, and it follows them. But it can move from person to person to person, that energy. Well, if I have these 3 things on my contracts, finances, learning how to be relaxed, and learning about the values of conversation, then someone who is in alignment with my frequency first, because soul level attraction. What is attraction? Attraction is 2 things being drawn to one another. 2 things cannot be drawn to one another unless the frequencies match. It's similar to magnets. If magnets had a frequency that wasn't and coincided with what the truth is of the magnet attraction, then, you know, the positive and negative, it won't attract. It will just constantly bounce off. So there has to be a level of alignment in your frequencies. If the frequencies match, that's the first wall of defense in terms of spirituality when it pertains to attracting another soul. The first wall of defense is frequency. I don't care if y'all think y'all are cute. I don't care if y'all think one another are amazing. It does not matter if the frequencies don't matter. If the frequencies don't matter, then it doesn't matter. When the frequencies are that which is prioritized, then you will get past the first wall of defense in terms of mending this connection. And a frequency simply is, you can see it as value. See frequency as value. So the things that you allow to enter your existence, your mind, the things that you allow to come out your mouth, the actions that you produced, all of those things are what you value. And if what you value is completely different than what another person's values is, it would not work. It would not align itself with the full expression. And we are prioritizing the full expression, not some halfway type of connection. We understand y'all want a soulmate. If you want a soulmate, then you're going all the way with the best connection. We're not settling for less. Those who actually want soulmates, like, people sometimes utilize these buzzwords and these buzz terms because it sounds cute. But when you start asking for a soulmate and you listen to Nadiie with these sacred information, you actually apply it. Well, what happens is all of your guys and God says bet, and they call you on your bluff if you're bluffing, or they set you up to a perfect pathway if you're serious. But when you align yourself with a soulmate, it's a spiritual job. That's what that is. A soulmate is a spiritual job. So be careful with asking for a soulmate, because you're asking to be a light worker. And if you do not want to be a light worker, ask for a relationship. Ask for friends with benefits. Ask for these things unless you want to be a light worker. Then ask for a soulmate. Now, once you get past the first level, the frequency, then it serves to see, and this happens subconsciously, because remember we talked about moving the consciousness out the way. To move the consciousness out the way, you stop thinking. Your homework is when you stop thinking so much, vessel work. When you stop thinking so much, you remove yourself from that which is negativity. And you understand this, and we know this to be truth, because our default is positive. When you stop utilizing the mind, when you stop overthinking, when you stop looking at things and describing and all of this, right? You will start to drift into positivity. This is a fact. This is literally a fact. When you stop thinking, like literally, I'm going to break down what this is. I'm sitting down, right? I'm sitting down. Stopping thinking, stop the thinking means this. I'm sitting down. Let's say I was in your position and now I'm watching somebody teach. Our minds may say, okay, he looks like this. Oh, he has a robe on. Oh, he has rings on his hand. Oh, he has long hair. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds very interesting. Oh, that's all the mind. That's all thinking. That leaves room for doubt when you do that too much. Let's scale it back. We are being realistic. So realistic is, okay, it may not serve to just instantly remove thoughts, period. It is possible, but it may not serve. So count your thoughts. If you have at least 10 thoughts, or if you're on rapid, if you just can't even count them because they're on rapid, notice that my thoughts are on rapid. Why are they on rapid? Put the why into your thinking. I was thinking about you trying to astral project. See? Remove yourself from the thinking. That removes yourself from doubt. That removes yourself from fear, because it all goes through thinking first. That's why Yeshua would say you need not thoughts. Why do you need not thoughts? Because thoughts get you nowhere. Knowingness gets you everywhere. You don't have to think when you know. When somebody says 2 + 2, you don't think about it, right? You just know. It's 4. When somebody says 1 + 1, you don't think about it. Why? Because you know. When you think about it, that means you're doubting. On this literally a foundational level. So that's why it serves for all of you to remove yourself from thinking. Now that does not mean don't have divinely guided actions, but divinely guided actions is actions being guided by the beyond. You don't need thoughts for that either. When you say, Source, be with me. Source, guide me to seeing as you see. That is one of the most powerful prayers you could ever pray. Prayers, A.K.A. divine statements. God, guide me to seeing as you see. Instead of God, help me with this or with that, you say, God, I understand your eyes are abundant and everything you see is like the Midas touch. The moment you see something, it bursts into light. Guide me to seeing all in my existence that way. So if something comes about, let's say I'm going through a divorce, I'm going through some court issues, or I'm going through an argument, God, guide me to seeing this as you would have me see it. And then all of a sudden, you will know what to say. All of a sudden, you will know what posture to have. All of a sudden, everything is in alignment. So, soulmates, when you pass all of this, you pass the first defense wall, which is the frequency. Then you go into the soul contracts or soul agreements. Us as spirit-based beings, we don't really like to use the term soul contracts. Why? The term contract is very too final. When you go into the realms of spirit, you put on the eyes of God, you'll be able to see these quote-unquote so-called contracts. But we say soul agreements because contracts are too final. You can shift, repurpose, or distribute the words or language or energy on any what y'all call contract at any given time, point, place. If your contract once said, I must learn how to backflip, you can change that later at any point in time to, I will learn how to run faster. Contracts can be changed. Nothing is finalized in the realms of spirit. Nothing is set in stone. Remember, that is too linear. Source does not operate in a linear sense. So if y'all got readings from people or y'all have the same type of archetype, you can tell what's on your soul contract by looking at the people that you align yourself with. And if it's the same type of person, if they think the same, if they do the same, if it's like, oh, everybody just kind of has this familiar energy, most likely they're reading your soul agreements and they're saying, I can get that, I can get that, I can get that. There's only really 3 steps in finding and attracting a beautiful soulmate. The first one, the frequency. The second one is going within and actually remember, we're all going to do this together. That's why these mastery courses are so important for everyone to participate, be involved. You share the live, you like the live, because we are serving many, many spirits, even beyond what you can see in physicality. So we're going to utilize a very powerful technique or a city and finding out what's on your soul agreement. So if you understand it serves to find out what's on my soul agreement, what did I agree with before I came to earth in our incarnation, what was actually agreed upon, then stick around, because we are literally going to utilize certain techniques for you to remember that. Because this is not just about giving you information and hopefully you find your soulmate. No, you're going to find your soulmate today. But remember, if you're looking for a relationship, ask for that. A soulmate is not that. A soulmate is a job. Just see it as that. See it as a job. When you align yourself with your soulmate, you find your soulmate, you're now aligning yourself with a light worker energy. Y'all have a mission here together. And if you aren't doing that mission, somehow, some way, an argument is going to happen and you're going to really despise each other. People wonder, why does very beautiful things just end up going to muck randomly? It's because you didn't recognize you were literally speaking to your soulmate. And a soulmate is not an individual person. Remember that cloud, that sunny cloud? That's the soulmate. Not the vessel. It's that energy above them. That's the soulmate. But when y'all stop doing the mission y'all literally came here for, that cloud leaves. And when that cloud leaves, then the ego is now seeping into the connection to that, holy connection. And now arguments is popping off. And if you can't get past that, boom, it's gone. So a lot of people, they may start off like the light workers that are actually interested in soulmates and all this stuff. They may start off understanding the divine mission, but then they get caught up in the ego world. They get caught up in sex. They get caught up in all of this, and they stop focusing on the divine mission. A soulmate is a job. Put that in your head. A soulmate is a job. And when you stop focusing on your divine mission, all of a sudden arguments start happening. All of a sudden y'all have now broken up because it serves no more. It serves no more. It's just that simple. There is no such thing as failure. Remember that. There is no such thing. You have never had a failed relationship. You have never had a failed anything. I promise you. Literally, the way the universe works, the way God works, whatever terminology serves for you is, when it serves, it stays. When it no longer serves, I don't care for how long. I don't care if it doesn't serve for a millisecond. The moment it stops serving, move out the way. Move out the way. Because God doesn't operate on time. The moment, this not working no more. The moment the soul say this not working no more, God is going to try his absolute hardest to move that out of your path. I don't care if it was a 20-year relationship. God does not care about time. I don't care what it is. When you start seeing the resistance come, the ego come in your connection or your, blossoming connection, then know, oh snaps, we're getting off alignment. We're not doing our mission. When y'all start arguing and all of that, we're getting all arguments all fear is a reminder that you're not in alignment. That's all it is. When you start arguing, when you start fearing, when you start judging, all that is alignment that you are not in that, alignment, that truth. It's just a reminder. All of those are reminders, okay? And remember the person that asked the question, everybody else that asked the question, we will get to the question segment. If we don't answer your question, and ask it again. We will have a dedicated segment for questions. This is all extremely important because once you get the frequency, the prioritization, the perception, reality is based upon perception. When you start perceiving in such ways that, you see through the eyes of love, you're not judging. Seeing as God sees is, everybody practice this. This is going to be our first practice. This practice is going to go throughout the entire sacred service for this Sunday. When you see me, I need everybody in their mind, because remember we said stop thinking. When you see me, can you not see a black person? When you see me, can you not see locks? When you see me, can you not see clothes? When you see me, can you not see a human? When you see me, can you stop seeing the flesh, the vessel, and see me as God sees? Well, how does God want you to be seen? That is based upon the person. So when you are able to accept this is not just a human in front of you, then you all ask Source, how would you have me see this situation I am in right now? This life scenario I am in right now. God, how would you have me see it? So on the count of 3, all right? On the count of 3, we are all going to utilize this powerful prayer, all of us. If you're serious about soul, you're here because you found some level of attraction, a soul level attraction. We are actually displaying the theme of today. You attracted yourself here. We attracted you here in unison. That's soul level attraction. Now, the second level is finding a mate for your soul. My energy is a mate for your soul. This person, a dog, a tree, an animal, a bee, whatever it may be, could be a mate for your soul. So, if you are serious, participate with us with this prayer. So on the count of 3, what we're going to say is, God, or you can say Source. We say Source in our, personal times, but we understand that some people may not know what that is. So as a master, you must know how to bridge with others. If I'm speaking to someone that only knows God as Allah or Great Central Sun or whatever they see as serving, I will just say it, because it's not about imposing wills upon other people. It's about bridging. So you can say Source if you want to, or God. But what we're going to say on the count of 3 is, God, guide me to seeing this scenario in life differently. God, guide me to seeing this scenario in life differently. God, guide me to seeing this scenario in life differently. 1, 2, 3. Repeat after me. God, guide me to seeing this scenario in life differently. And so it is. Can I get an and so it is? And so it is. If you participated, type 33s in the chat. If you participated, type 33s in the chat. If you participated, type 33s in the chat. We should do this often, and so it is. Yes, it is. Yes, we should. The Sunday sacred services are very, very, very focused. Friday sacred service, remember, we go live every Friday and Sunday, 8 a.m. Fridays is just like, whoo, because, God is like that. Sundays is, we're going to really dive deep in some very particular topics. So thank you for praying with us. That sets the foundation. Now remember, yes, Sundays is teaching, that y'all said you're not going to see this vessel. You're going to remove yourself from thinking. Okay, Nadiie, now what can we do if thoughts come about? Because sometimes, random thoughts will come. They call them intrusive thoughts. Well, you must change your relationship with what thoughts are. I'm going to unfollow someone so I can follow them. We're so very grateful for your presence. Change your relationship on what thoughts are. Thoughts are simply outside of yourself. They're not merging with your mind from an internal basis first and then revealing itself. No, they are outside of yourself and you choose. Have you ever walked in an area, right? Any particular area, like a rough neighborhood, and you start having rough neighborhood thoughts? Like you walked in the area, you be like, ugh. You start judging more. Why does it look like this? Yuck. Or have you walked into a very beautiful place? A very clean Panera Bread. And you're like, wow, they really cleaned up in here. Wow. I just feel the what? I feel the energy. Environments hold energy. Environments hold thoughts. We've all experienced us going into a particular environment and thoughts immediately coming. We know environments hold thoughts because when we were driving to this place, we had no judging thoughts. But the moment we rode up in the hood, all of these judgment thoughts came up. Why does it look like this? This is run down. They need to fix these roads, potholes, this. None of that was there before we entered the area. So thoughts are outside of yourself. Even science proves thoughts are outside of yourself, because when you study the aura, and this is stuff you can scientifically look up after this, go on your Googles and look up what science says about the aura. And you will see a diagram about, it was like his diagram man, and you will see the energy, color all around him. And they have points about what each color and everything means. Well, also, there was a scientific experiment where they put this helmet thing on people's heads, and they were able to see people's thoughts on a computer screen based on the energy that was around their head. So they said the energy that's around their head has this frequency, and they mapped out what each frequency means. So they said, when we see this frequency, that must mean this. And the probability was like in the high 90s. So they were very accurate. So they would tell people, oh, you're thinking about a lion right now. And they'll be like, how did you know I was thinking about a lion? It was because we seen your frequency around your head, and the frequency is like that. That proved, science proved that thoughts are outside of yourself. No thoughts come from within. They come from outside. When we change that relationship and we know environments have thoughts, then we can ask ourselves when quote unquote intrusive thoughts come, because remember, why is this important? In order for you to attract something, it serves for you to know of your frequency, because we don't want you to attract something of negativity. And if when you remove yourself from thoughts, you instantly remove yourself from negativity, because fear, ego, doubt, all of these things associate themselves with thoughts. Think about it for a second. Think logically. Remember, because like we want to make sure everything makes sense logically and spiritually. When you doubted, was there a presence of doubt, or did you think doubting things? I guarantee you were thinking doubting things. Oh my gosh, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't have enough money. Like, I got bills on the way. All of that is thoughts. You're thinking, oh my gosh, my relationship is going to, all of that is thought. KBE, is that where Sage comes into play? I will answer this question. I do have remember your other question, KBE, because we will answer it later, but this question actually pertains to what we're speaking of now. Is that where Sage comes into play to clear the energy and thoughts from a space? We're going to hold that question because we're going to answer it. Perfect. So when you understand that, oh, snaps, literally your life gets significantly better when you start practicing the removal of thoughts. If you need some more descriptions, because we're going to dive really deep, but if you want something after this, like some quote-unquote homework, DM me 33 if you want some more tangible things for this particular removing yourself from thoughts technique to remove yourself from negativity, because I have a free 3-day course. When you DM me 33, I'll give you our free 3-day course. That 3-day course, when you pass it, and it's going to be spiritual integrity, I'm not going to ask you if you passed it or not. You're going to chalk that up with source. It's called spiritual integrity. So when you pass that 3-day course, that 3-day initiation course, you are able to go into our mystery school. Why would you ever try to join a mystery school if you can't at least align yourself with 3 days with God? So you would DM me after the live 33, and I'll give you our free 3-day course. In this course, it has detailed explanations on day 1 on how to remove yourself from thoughts, descriptions. So do that. And then after you completed the 3-day course, click the link in the bio, join our mystery school. There are some topics that I will not speak in public about, because even if you were here on my last live on Friday, they actually restricted the live where we said certain things. We wasn't even saying that, we wasn't even getting that deep yet. They restricted the live. So when you click the link in the bio and you click mystery school and you join that, I can see who all joins, and I'm going to have very sacred Sunday services and, other day services specifically for the people of the mystery school. And there are going to be specific things on that mystery school. And in the mystery school, there's some very, very powerful stuff for you. But in terms of the Friday and Sunday sacred services at 8 a.m., those will be posted on Nadiie Black's guidance. You click the link in my bio, click Nadiie Black's guidance. So yes. And in continuation, this is all extremely important. Now, when you factor in, all right, I'm going to remove myself from thoughts. I understand. Remember, we said change your relationship with the thought. The thought is now outside of yourself. So that's one defense wall knocked down. Now you're not thinking the thoughts are you. When you stop associating you with the thoughts, your energy isn't highly affected by what you think. And it gets this deep. When I'm teaching and I have a random thought that comes up, I don't say I'm thinking this, I'm saying I'm seeing. So change your vocab. Now you first change your relationship, right? You change how you perceive the thought. It's outside of yourself. Now you change your vocabulary about the thought. The vocabulary, instead of saying, I'm thinking this, don't just accept every thought that comes. You're able to deny. And you're able to change your verbiage and say, oh, I see this thought. Instead of saying, I'm thinking this, be like, oh, when a thought comes about, let's say I'm teaching, I see a thought. What is this? And because I understand that our environment holds thoughts, if I think of any particular thing, it's because I have given it power. Well, if I see it, I'm recognizing it and I'm able to transmute it. But be careful with what you see. Reality is based upon perception, so it's good to sometimes ignore things. But if it serves me to transmute it, if I know, all right, somebody just entered this neighborhood that I am in. How do I know this? Because a thought that is very, very new just came about. I'm able to see thoughts. I can see into the ethers. It looks very, very interesting. It's like when you close your eyes, you have a lot of colors. If you stare at a light, if you stare at a light somewhere and then close your eyes immediately after, and you'll see like light because of the light that you see. That's kind of like the ethers look like. I can see the ethers and I can see everybody's thoughts. And I can see when new thoughts come up. So when somebody enters a neighborhood that's new, I can tell, oh, somebody just walked in because a new thought appeared. So then I could transmit that thought if I see that person staying here. Let's say somebody's moving into the neighborhood and they're coming in with that energy. I can transmute those thoughts. What does transmutation look like as it pertains to other people? This goes within the soul level attraction. Transmutation, as it looks like with other people, is you're sending them recommendations. You are never, what if you can't get someone out of your head? We will definitely get to that as well. That's also another good one that flows within. Recommendations is how transmutation works as it pertains with other people. You would never be able to impose yourself or perform types of exorcisms on people if they're negative. That's not how those things work. There's a relationship, a coexisting that must happen. Both parties must agree that on some level this is beneficial. But if someone is not of a spiritual nature and they're just negative, that's their life. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong, because there's no such thing as right or wrong. There's only what we accept and what we choose to not accept. That's what the world is based upon. But when we factor this in, we can understand that, all right, we change our relationship with thoughts, we change our vocab with the thoughts. I'm going to say that I see thoughts instead of I'm thinking them. I see thoughts instead of I'm thinking them. Then I'm not going to say thoughts are within me. I'm recognizing thoughts are outside of myself. Now, when I do this, what are my values? My values is, my action, the things that I choose to embrace within me, the things that I choose to enable. Those are the things that you value. That's what your frequency is. When you carry all of this into a connection, then you can see what serves. In that connection, then we move forth into the soul agreements. If you have a set of soul agreements, note that person's soul, wherever it may be a tree. Remember, because soulmates is not just about sexual energy. It's not just about relationships. A soulmate can be an ant, literally. You can see an ant and say, for whatever reason, I feel like following this ant today. And this ant will lead you to what unity is, because the ant will take you to the most grandest, ant farm in the history of ever. And you'll be like, wow, they are so in unison. And it will give you a download. Anything can be a soulmate. Now, when two souls have the same frequency or very similar frequencies, they get asked a question. Would you see yourself as being a mate for this soul? They may say yes, they may say no. Most souls are happy and nice, so they will say yes. Our frequencies match, therefore service shall be provided. So, when this happens, boom, your soul agreements instantly appear in front of you. So then God says, read this person's soul agreements and see what you can, help them with. Remember, most of the time, a quote-unquote soulmate, unless you have a very particular pathway, a soulmate is only going to help you with a few things. A lot of the times, quote-unquote soulmate connections understand that service has been provided much sooner than we would have liked, because we as people, quote-unquote, love them so much, we want them to fix all of our stuff. They only came here to help you with your conversation, your finances, and to be relaxed. Remember, that was our example of the mock-up soul agreement. Well, if we know that our soul agreements align with this person in terms of the finances, how to value conversation and relaxation, why are you trying to have this person live a lifelong life with you if they're only here to get you to recognize these three things? And once those three things are done, then you have to have a re-signing. As above, so below. When terms are up in contracts, are you married? Yes, I am. When terms are up and on earth in terms of contracts, what happens? When a rapper has a 2-year deal and the deal is now done, negotiations happen and they have to re-sign a deal. Most of the time, that's so hard to accept when it's family. Exactly. That is a fact. That's why we're going to utilize a lot of techniques together in unison, because remember, we want to utilize a technique where y'all can figure out what's on your soul agreement. So y'all can go do that negotiation with your partner. Peace unto you, Kay. So most of the times, things go amok because y'all haven't done that renegotiation. A lot of the times, your soulmate has given you what you needed to complete that first soul agreement that they seen. Remember, we're removing ourselves from saying the word contract, because contract is far too final. Boom. With that, we understand this. When you have a particular set of things with your soul agreement, and these people agree with that, their only focus is that. That is it. That's why it's important for us to know these things. And we will utilize a technique later on. Now, it goes back to KBE's question. Well, when you start to get to this point, wouldn't it be good if you utilize sage to transmute energy? Well, remember, in our viral video, what sage is. Sage is meant for transmutation. It's meant to turn the stagnant into the flowing. Only utilize sage if, peace unto you all, only utilize sage if you understand that there is stagnation. That is it. Sage is not for protecting you from anything. What do you need to be protected from if all is God? I promise you there is not an angel in history that is lighting sage because they need to be protected from anything. Why? Because they live and see and breathe God. And those that do not live, breathe, and see God are not in their reality. Reality is based upon perception so much. Remember my Baphomet story I gave y'all when I astral projected and I was in the realm where the Baphomet was, but the Baphomet intentionally did not look at me. And when he tried to attack me, his eyes were closed. Why? Reality is based upon perception. If the Baphomet was able to open his eyes and see me, the son of source, he would literally, or it would evolve. Because that's how powerful perception is. They don't care what the most dangerous being is in the realms of spirit. I don't care how dark they are. If you live a light life and you understand that my pathway affects all, and you actually are responsible with that, I am the son of source, as are you. I am the Christ on earth, as are you. The second coming is us in unison. It's not an individual. When you understand this, and actually not just believe it or say it because it sounds cute, you actually move that way. When you actually, before you go to sleep, you make an intention to go to specific realms. Like, I would intentionally go to hell realms to free souls. I'm that serious about it. I take it that serious. If I had a good week and I built my energy up, I would say, God, it serves for me to go into the realms that this beings or these humans call hell. Take me to the hell realms. Let me figure out what's going on over there so I can assist some more souls. I'm that serious about the light. When you have someone that's that serious about the light, then when you go into any realm where there's beings that are dark, the moment they look at you, they evolve. I don't need to talk to nobody. Y'all just got to look at me and y'all evolve. It's like crop circles. Crop circles, which y'all don't realize, crop circles and sacred geometry are very, very similar. After this, remember y'all's homework is to look up crop circles. If y'all want to get more techniques, DM me 33 and I'll give you our free 3-day course and I'll give you some more other things. You should be in church then, right? Sunday morning. This is our spiritual leadership. This is our spiritual church or temple. So as we anchor this energy, then we know about the flowing and what flows and what serves. So Now that we got all of this in perfect alignment, oh, not you. Now that we got this in perfect alignment, then we can understand, all right, perfect. Sage, meant for transmutation, turning the stagnant into the flowing. If something in your soul connection is stagnant, if you feel like things are just not moving at all, that's when you hold space for sage. That's when you hold space for sage. That is it. And A.K.A, prayer. He said prayer. Prayer is not that important as people think it is. Prayer is not that important as people think it is. That's why I made the video, Become Your Prayers. Because there's an integration. There's spiritual bypassing that people do. What about Palo Santo? It's the same process. Palo Santo has the same foundations of transmutation, but what Palo Santo does, it attracts. So that's why some people will say it's good to utilize multiple forms of these forms of transmutation. But note, you are not using Palo Santo and Sage to protect yourself from anything, because if all is God, what do you need to be protected from? An angel lives as an angel, and everything around that angel is angelic. So it's as above, so below. If you want to go to heaven, you have to be as one already in heaven. Again, if you want to go to heaven, you have to be as one already in heaven. I promise you. I meet many angels. I actually have angels that are kids. Archangels that are kids. I haven't even told the public that, but that's something that y'all can talk about. I tell more of that and my lineage in the mystery school. So if you're interested in knowing more, click the link in the bio and I'll tell you more in the mystery school, so you'll be able to join the mystery school. But before you try to join a mystery school, yes, you can just join it, pay for it and all of that, but I recommend you DM me 33 so I can send you on a free 3-day course first. But I speak to angels on the day. One of my kids, actually 2 of them are archangels, so I know how angels operate. And I promise you, they don't, and this goes for any being of the light, they do not care about any dark being. They don't even perceive hate. They don't even perceive dark. They don't perceive anything other than that which is light. Because the moment they start thinking that way, they densify and they go lower in the ethers. They're trying to stay in the light realms, in the heaven realms, in the 7 heavens. They want to stay there. They don't want to come and incarnate in some place that is just so dark. So that's why we have to stop focusing on those things. So prayer is important when you become it. It's an integration process. People do a lot of spiritual bypassing. People do. Wow, that's why I only see good in people. Exactly. Because that's how angels see. That's how God sees. I promise you, God is not saying, oh, that person's ugly. I promise you, God is not saying, oh, that person's cute. Because judgment is both ways. But judgment is both seeing that which is beauty and that which is ugly in somebody. Because the soul is far beyond that which is beautiful and that which is ugly. Source see things all perfect. Everything's just perfect. So prayers is important for you to become your prayers, integrate it. A lot of people spiritual bypass and they say, well, if I pray about this or I ask God for this, then I'm done with it. That's not how it works. Line up your prayer, look at it, and figure out what I can do to have this prayer be prayed no longer. That's what we should be doing. If I'm continuously praying about finances, then obviously I'm not doing something correctly. How can I integrate something? So your next prayer would be, God, guide me to becoming a frequency that is of abundance, so I shall not pray about finances no more. Do you see how powerful that is? Do you see the light language in that type of verbiage? It's not me asking for help or all of this. It's me taking spiritual accountability and saying, yo, what must I be? I don't want to just throw stuff on a wall at God and see what sticks. Oh, finally, God help me with this. No. God, what must I be in order to experience that which I see serve? So now we move into, there was another question that we will get to. What if you can't get someone out your head? That's the question. So this is where the sage and the Palo Santo come in, because somebody also asked about Palo Santo. Palo Santo has the foundation of sage, of transmuting that which is stagnant into flowing, but also Palo Santo attracts. So the reason why people will say utilize both is because when you first transmute with sage, the stagnant into the flowing, then you utilize Palo Santo to attract flowing energy and beings that represent it. But you have to be specific with your verbiage. Like the Essenes were. Who are the Essenes? The Essenes are teachers that taught Jesus. Jesus did not come through the womb. Jesus, A.K.A. Yeshua, did not come through the womb with all of these superpowers. We all agreed on that one live that we understand that the baby was not flying and doing telekinesis and doing all of this stuff. The baby wasn't speaking in full sentences. Yes, it was taught. It was taught through the Essenes. The Essenes, very powerful teachers. How the Essenes operated is they seen all as sacred because everything is sacred. There is not one particular sacred day. There's not one particular sacred item. Everything is sacred. Why? Because everything is God. They understood that fundamental law. This is sacred because this is God. All is God. All is God, therefore all is sacred. So we treat everything with that level of embracing energy. So with the Essenes, what they would do is when they would utilize these sages and stuff, and then it came about time for them to utilize something like Palo Santo to attract energies, what they would say is, Source, guide us to experiencing a form that aligns with the frequency of this current environment. But you see how that prayer, A.K.A. divine statement, could be not so good if the environment isn't transmuted, right? If you ask Source to send you a form that aligns itself with the frequency of the environment that you're in, and the environment that you're in is not a positive environment, then you're going to get a very negative being. That's why it's important for you to shift the frequencies. So if you can't get someone out your head, shift the environment, because the frequency of that soul is in the environment. It's clearly not in you, because you on your average or above average lifestyle or routines or whatever you see as serving does not think those thoughts. That person is not in your head when you're living your best life. It's only when you are in particular energies, when you're thinking particular things. Therefore, when you shift the environment in such a way, you ask for that which is form that matches the frequency of the current environment. When you shift it into that which is flowing, then now you all can hold space for one another, and then you can utilize, all right, techniques like, well, why is this in my head? So instead of saying, well, what if you can't get somebody out your head, the question you should be asking is, why is this person in my head? Sometimes God will send us information in regards to people, in regards to connections or life scenarios that we may or may not like, because there's so value in those things. Remember, there's no such thing as a failure. You didn't fail at a job. You haven't failed in family. You haven't failed in relationships. You haven't failed in nothing. Things just served. But each experience, life scenario that you experience has a big reason for it. I promise you, if you're in a relationship today, or you're in a holy connection today, you are in that successful connection because of all the other connections you've been in. Not just relationships, connections you've been in. If you are in a successful, holy connection today, it's because your last relationship and the one before that, and your family member relationship, and the relationship with your dog, relationship with your, it's because all of these other relationships served and got you to this point. That's how that works. You know what not to do because of what happened last time with this person, with this person, with that person, with that person, with this and with that. You know what not serves when you understand that I don't like this personally, so if I don't like it, I'm not going to give it to another. So ask yourself the why. After you've done the experiment, let's say, of shifting your environment, then you ask yourself the why, and then you trust the answers that come in will serve for you. That's how you get somebody out your head. You ask them, how may I retire you? But if they still have a purpose to give you, you're only thinking about them because there's a purpose. If they still have something to give you, they're going to be there regardless of what you want, if you want them to be there or not. Alrighty, so if that all made sense, everybody type 33s in the chat. If that all made sense, type 33s in the chat. What is 33? Some people may ask. If you're new, peace unto you. My name is Nadiie Black. 33s is a mudra that we have created. It's a mudra that we created in the realms of astral with Yeshua. Yes, the Yeshua, Jesus. Yes, we and the Christ force together. We was meditating with this. I remember it was a few years ago. I had this vision come to me, and I heard God and some other beings. They were speaking to me, and it was like, you don't know how powerful you are. It serves now for you to make your own mudra and take that to the world, but don't take it to the world until you utilize the energies and let's say mold it. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm making my own mudra, let's have the Christ force come in. And then, because remember, Yeshua's not the only Christ being. There's many Christ beings I work with. But Yeshua particularly, he volunteered. Very beautiful of him. He volunteered and he said, all right, if you want to do that, then we're going to do it correctly. Totally perfect. So me and him was meditating years with this mudra. So 33s, it means spirit warrior. It's Hania means spirit warrior in Hopi. So 33s is Hania, which means spirit warrior. When you align with the frequency of 33s, be very, very careful, because you are now exposing your wound. In order to heal a wound, you must expose it. You cannot put ointment on a covering. You have to expose the wound to heal it. What does that mean? If you have deep, dark stuff within you, if you have bones where your clothes be, as I say, some people say skeletons in your closet. I say if you have bones where your clothes be, if you have bones where your clothes lay, then all of that will get revealed, and you'll go through an immediate dark night of the soul the moment you align with 33s. Because God understands the only way to heal a wound is to expose it. We have to bring everything up to the forefront, and then we can transmute it. But you cannot transmute something if you are not aware. All right? 33s is Christ consciousness. So when you start invoking 33, this mudra, that is you're bringing the presence of God. When you finally invoke it, remember 33s means Hania, which is spirit warrior in Hopi. This means Christ consciousness. This means oneness, because it's coming together. And when you hold the pinky and the thumb together, what does it look like, y'all? The infinity sign. So it's God, Christ consciousness, oneness for eternity. This is a very, very powerful mudra. One of the most powerful mudras that you can utilize. So that's why when we say type 33s in the chat, we're talking about that frequency that we have been working with for a very long time. So now that we all understand this, I went through it 2 years ago. It was tough, but the most amazing cleansing. Yes, yeah. Cleansing is very, very important. Keeping your environment clean, all of that good stuff is extremely important. Remember, we go live every Friday and Sunday. After this quick announcement, we'll get into the technique together. So stick around, everybody. If you're really, really serious and not fickle, going in and out and all of this, stick around. Because after this, we're going to give some group activities with one another, and we're going to talk about how we can find what's on our soul agreement. From the cats in the house and the apartment before my pregnant daughter come here on Monday, if anyone, please help. It's interesting. We shall bring forth that level of energy and light for you. Remember, if you are interested in watching all of these lives, all of the lives that we've ever done, click the link in my bio on my TikTok page, or if you're watching on YouTube, click the description, click the link. It'll take you to Nadiie Black's guidance. Click Nadiie Black's guidance. You can watch all of these for free. We'll post these later. We go live every Friday and Sunday. Also, you click the link in my bio, you'll be able to donate if we provide that which is service for you. Donate and be as generous as possible. All of that will be sent into this and only this, so we can stop working these earth jobs. And then, if you want to book a session, if you have something that's very personal that you don't want to comment because you're shy or whatnot, click the link in the bio, book a session with me. I can do everything. Energy reading, astrology readings, all of those things. If you want to know about memory regression, talking to beings that transcended, talking to relatives that passed on, I can do all of it. Just ask me. Boom. So make sure you book a session with me if it serves. Click the link in the bio, book a session. Click the link in the bio, click Nadiie Black's guidance to watch all of these for free. All right, so in terms of how we can find out what's on our actual soul agreement or soul contract, as some say. But remember, removing ourselves away from the word contract because that is far too final. Everybody, sit upright. Everybody, sit upright if you can. Sit upright. Loosen up your energy. Crack your knuckles if you have to. Stretch a little bit. We want this energy to be stretched out. That's why yoga is so important, because it stretches the energy out. Everybody stretch out. We're going to do a very, very powerful technique together. If you want more of these very powerful techniques, click the link in the bio, join the mystery school. Those that go to the mystery school, very powerful thing. We got something very, very powerful planned for that. But we need to get everybody together over here to move them over here. Because there's some things that I want to tell y'all, but it's not like I want to put certain things behind paywalls and extra. I want to tell y'all, but TikTok be restricting the live, so I'd be like, dang, I can't. I remember we was talking about mythology, and they restricted the mythology. It's myths. Even though we know what it really is, I was specifically using that word and those terminology. TikTok said, we know what you're doing, Nadiie, restricted. I was like, dang. So, yeah, it's not that I want to just put stuff behind the mystery school, but I almost have to because of how all of these, especially since TikTok is now going to start being owned by other people and stuff, we got to start migrating. So if y'all are really serious and y'all not playing with the light and y'all not just listening to just listen and all, and you actually want to do something and change the world, make sure y'all click the link in the bio and join the mystery school. All right, so everybody got sit up, everybody stretched out. I need everybody to perform a sound. That's going to be a sound. We're going to do a particular sound, what y'all call healing, what I would just call sound alchemy. All of us in unison on the count of 3. All of us in unison on the count of 3. We're going to emit this sound. But we're going to have a specific intention, all right? So our intention, everybody must have a unified intention in order for this to work. Because when you utilize a particular technique with 2 or more people, it becomes very massive. And when we all are aligning with that specific intention, things can change much faster. That's why you will have a lot of giant meditation ceremonies on like the Eastern cultures, how they will have hundreds of people meditating all at once with the same intention. It actually affects a lot. You may not see it, but if you was to step in that environment whilst they're meditating, you will feel a lot of energy. Like, what in the world? This feels so weird. I low-key want to stay here, but I know I shouldn't. It's that attraction. And all of this is important for finding your soulmate. Why? We have to figure out what's on our soul agreement in order to figure out what our soulmate actually signed up for. And if all of our stuff is on our agreement is completed, we must go back to our partners, to our soulmates, whatever it is, a tree, a dog, a relationship, whatever the soulmate is, and have negotiations. And actually negotiating, like sitting down and say, listen, we have to talk about this connection. We have to talk about this holy That's what negotiations are. My last message after this live, pray to God for him to show you the truth and have faith. All right. So, our unified intention is seeing what's on our soul's agreement. Everybody in your mind's eye, in whatever way you see us serving, say this. Source, guide, on a count of 3, we'll say, Source, guide me to seeing my soul agreements. In your mind's eye, speak it not. You hold on to it. A quick way to see what's in your mind's eye, you know how like subtitles are, how you see subtitles, you know how the bouncing ball, sometimes we go over certain words or certain subtitles in certain TV shows or shows or songs and stuff. When you close your eyes, visualize like subtitles of that. God, guide me to seeing my soul agreement. Visualize that being in word format so you can see it. If it's hard, when you visualize a bouncing ball, that movement, you can see it a little easier. So break it down into words like God, and then see the word God, G-O-D, in your mind's eye. And see the bouncing ball, hit that, and light it up. God, guide, see the word guide. God, guide me, see all of that, to seeing my soul agreement. You see it as like subtitles in your mind's eye. All right? This is the practice. Close your eyes, see that. God, guide me to seeing my soul agreement. Practice saying that in your mind's eye, not with your tongue. Close your mouth, use your mind's eye. On the count of 3, we are all going to say it. Let me finish this puzzle real quick. There it is. Now, everybody, look at the screen right now and read that word without your mouth. Just read that word with your mind. You hear that voice? Read that word with your mind. Soulmate. You hear that voice? Use that voice. Use that voice. On the count of 3, we are all going to set our intention and say, God, guide me to seeing my soul agreement. Or plural, soul agreements, whichever one starts for you. God, guide me to seeing my soul agreement, or God, guide me to seeing my soul agreements. Alrighty, on the count of 3, everybody. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. In your mind's eye, not with your mouth. Say it again. 1, 2, 3. In your mind's eye now. God, guide me to seeing my soul agreements. Again, 1, everybody. In your mind's eye, say, God, guide me to seeing my soul agreements. 1, 2, 3. And so it is. We all have a unified intention. What happens when a unified intention comes about is beings from the spirit realms, God and everybody starts looking at us. Why are all of these people having the same intention? What the heck is going on over there? What do they need? The angels sending reports back to God. They said they want to see their soul agreements. Okay. You know there's a next step to that. Yes, God, we're going into the next steps. After we have aligned ourselves with this intention, on the count of 3, we're all going to emit the sound. Now we're utilizing our mouth and emitting the sound, but we're emitting the sound through the intention, the filters of our intentions, which is finding our soul agreements. Remember, sage is not the only thing that can transmute an environment. Sound is very possible to transmute the environment. So, this sound is going to be like this. Ooh. So we're going to emit that type of sound. And when I change the sound, everybody follow along. I don't care if somebody thinks you're crazy. I don't care about this. I don't care if anybody's judging. Right now, God matters. What matters? What do you value? God or somebody judging you thinking you're crazy for making sound sounding like a dolphin? Right now, what matters? God matters. I don't care what people think. I understand these things work. So on the count of 3, we're going to emit the sound, this ooh. And when I elongate it, everybody just elongate it. We're doing it in short bursts so we can catch up with one another. And then we're going to do this long string of the sound. Holding the intention, God, guide me to seeing my soul agreements. What this sound is, it's called sound alchemy. Because somebody is asking, why are we doing this? I hear you. The reason why we're doing this is sound affects your immediate environment. Sound is extremely powerful. For example, if a club is playing a lot of secular music, you're going to walk into a club feeling secular. If you didn't drink before, you're going to walk into a club and you will be susceptible to having thoughts about drinking. All because of the sound, the music that's being played. But if they played Michael Jackson or Bob Marley, the complete experience would be different. Sound is extremely important. So when we have an intention of finding our soul agreements and we're utilizing sound through the process, what we're saying is essentially light language. We're utilizing light language. How do we know this? There's stories about when people would meet Yeshua in the realms of spirit, they would hear him. Not his footsteps, but his actual presence would emit a sound. His literal presence would emit a sound. Archangels, they speak in sound. Not words, it's just like sound. That's why sound is important. So on a count of 3, we're all going to utilize this sound. This ooh. All right. 1, 2. Somebody said ringing in the ears because we're speaking in light language. 1, 2, 3. Everybody sing with me. Ooh. 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 Once more. Ooh. Light language. When you feel this energy, I always hear the universe vibration. After y'all do this, y'all feel light. Type 33s, you feel a little lighter. Type 33s, you feel a little bit of different energy. Type 33s, you feel a little bit of tingling, almost like you're ticklish or almost like it's cold. Type 33s, you feel that energy. I told y'all it works. Now y'all see Nadiie is actually the son of Source. We are one. There is no difference between us. This is actually working. We didn't come here. We didn't come back on Earth to play with y'all. We came on Earth to grab everybody and say, go back home if you want to, but we're giving you the choice to. Now that we have set up this environment and this foundation, now, everybody, we're going to hold space for everybody to ask Source one question about your soul agreements. This is where you empower yourself. Felt and heard my ear throb. Yes, exactly. Now, on the count of 3, everybody, you can say it out loud. You can say it in your minds. I don't care how you can scream it. I don't care what you do. Ask Source one question about your soul agreement. It could be, for example, let's say the question is, God, guide me to completing my soul agreements. Or you can say, like we said in the question format, say, God, what must I be in order to complete my soul agreements? God, what must I be in order to align myself with no more arguments in terms of soul agreements and soul contract? Ask God one question, but make the question very broad and open, not such linear things. On a count of 3, regarding your soul agreement. We set the tone. We did the sound alchemy. We have our intention. God is literally in your room. And all your spirit guides are in your room. You attracted them. I promise you, I see them. I see somebody's room. It's like they have blue lights in the room. They have a queen size bed. I'm in somebody's room. Somebody actually called for me to be. So I see it. I see it. But you must understand that now that the space is really, really sacred, on a count of 3, you ask a question to Source in regards to your soul contract or soul agreement. 1, 2, 3. Ask your question to God about your soul agreement. Ask your question to God about your soul agreement. Don't listen for an answer just yet. Just ask the question. Type 33s in the chat when you have finished asking the question in regards to your soul agreements to God. Type 33s in the chat when you are finished asking your question in regards to your soul agreement to God. We're going to wait for everybody to type the 33s. You can say it out loud in your mind's eye. It doesn't matter. Scream it. You can yell it. You can write it. Just type 33s when you're finished. All right. We see everybody typing 33s. You're finished. All right, cool. Now, we're going to utilize another. I love God so much because I held gatherings in person. Just quick little side note story time. I held gatherings in person for about 7 to 9 years before I took it to technology, to teachings. And we were performing a lot of miracles and a lot of this type of stuff. If y'all feel this through technology, you can only imagine how it feels when you're in person with me. And we're utilizing this energy. And I always asked God, I was like, God, please guide me to understanding how to translate what we do in physicality through technology. And you know what God said? Distance matters not. And I was like, perfect. So as close as the people that were in my house were to me, that's how close I am to you, for distance matters not. All right, now that we've asked our question, remember we said don't focus on hearing. Don't focus on hearing. Now we're going to focus on hearing. We're going to set another intention, to hear the guidance and see the guidance of God. All right? So our intention in unison, on the count of 3, we're all going to say in our mind's eye, again, remember, we utilize our mind's eye, not our mouth. We're going to say in our mind's eye, God, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. God, guide me to seeing. You can say Source if you want to. Source, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. Source, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. God, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. On the count of 3 in your mind's eye. 1, 2, 3. And so it is. Alrighty. Now that we've established this, oh, I hear another person. Let's do it one more time. Let's follow along. Let's do it one more time. On the count of 3, we're going to say, God, guide me to seeing and hearing my guidance. I hear one person that kind of fell off a little bit. On the count of 3, God, guide me to seeing and hearing my guidance. Your guidance. 1, 2, 3. And so it is. Alrighty. Our next intention is laid. You must lay an intention clearly before you do any particular technique. If the intention is not laid, the technique will not blossom into what you initially thought it should blossom into. Redo. We seen you. Alrighty. It's Denise. In your mind's eye right now, just say, God, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. Say that right now. God, guide me to seeing and hearing your guidance. In your mind's eye, do not use your mouth at all. If you use your mouth, say it again. God, guide me to seeing your and hearing your guidance. Alrighty, now we're going to utilize sound alchemy again. We set our intention. Remember, all the angels are in the room. They know what's going on. Oh, snaps. They're utilizing a very ancient, powerful technique that the Essenes used. Who is showing them this? Oh, Nadiie. Oh, thank you. An aspect of yourself. If you see me as the son of Source, you see yourself. We are one. We are one. There's no difference between me. Do not see me as a master. Do not see me as any of these things until you affirm it for yourself first. We're going to utilize sound alchemy again on a count of 3. We already explained what it is, so we're just going to dive deep into it. Instead of saying the oohs, we're going to say the ahs. So we're going to say, oh. And then when we elongate it, follow along. When we make the pitch higher, follow along gradually. Alrighty? Or remember, our intention is seeing and hearing the guidance of God. Remember, we set forth the question. So now, most people, when they pray, sometimes they don't leave enough room. They don't, you know how we have sacred prayers and stuff, and we ask God for things? Well, what we're supposed to do is also, after we set that sacred environment to pray, then we set the sacred environment to hear and listen. Most people forgot that part. So that's why we're doing this part. So on the count of 3, we are all going to emit this sound, this oh. And if I change the pitch, follow along. If I elongate the note, follow along. Alrighty? I don't care if anybody thinks you're crazy, because what matters? God, not their judgments. 1, 2, 3. Oh. 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 Let me hear you. Listen for thoughts, sudden thoughts, epiphanies, feelings, energy, flowing, and itching sensations. Ankles may be itching, nose may be itching, top of the head may be itching. Focus on the energy. Close your eyes if you need to focus. Just listen to God. A lot of the times humans pray, but we do not allow ourselves time and space to listen. Every question that you ask in your prayer, God is trying his best to answer it. But if we aren't actively creating a space where we can listen, God's answers in abundance will not reach us. So shh and listen. One person asks about a particular relationship and how they want to end things. Another person asks about a relationship and how they could spark it up. Another person asked about how to mend the relationship and stop arguments. Another person asked, well, how do I know about my soulmate? Another person asked, well, what is on my soul agreements? Another person asked, why do I feel this way about this person and not this person? All of these questions, God is answering. Shh. And listen. Somebody else just asked, but what if I don't hear anything? Notice how you feel. Notice how you feel. God is a knowingness. And sometimes you don't like the answer. If everybody close your mouth real quick and listen to your ears, do y'all hear like a slight noise in your ears? Type 33s if you hear a slight noise when you're quiet. Type 33s if you hear a slight noise in your ears when you're quiet. Type 33s if you hear a slight noise in your ears when you're quiet. Yes. Ringing, quiet or not. Yes. Brian, your soul is here for it sees that which what we provide as service. If what we provided served not, you would leave, yet you stay. That ringing that you hear after all of this frequency, that is a download. It's a presence. Now that ringing that you hear, visualize your body emitting that. That ringing that you hear, visualize your body emitting a sound. What does that look like? Sounds is like waves. You know, waves, energy, how waves look like? Visualize waves like pulsing out of your body, emitting that sound. Whatever you think that sound is like, visualize that. God is a knowingness, it's a presence. Some of us hear the voice of God. Others receive just the direct download into our presence. And it's like, whoa. For whatever reason, I don't feel like I need to ask the question again. That is God. Sometimes remember what we said about the conscious mind not needing to be in the forefront. The subconsciousness is cool enough. God also operates in this way. You ask the question, right? You feel pressure in your crown. Yes. It's this knowingness. Sometimes the way God operates is, I'm going to give them a frequency to where they feel like they don't even need to ask that question again. For whatever reason, the question just doesn't feel like it needs to be asked. Why? Because you know in it. You don't need to ask somebody what's 1 + 1. You know. I have a lot of questions. A lot more questions after this, I'm sure. The original question have been answered. No in that. So now, the next step, everybody. On the count of 3, we perform our gratitudes. On the count of 3, we perform our gratitudes. On a count of 3, all of us with our mouths, we say, Thank you for guiding me to this being. We are extremely grateful. On the count of 3, we all say, thank you for guiding me to this being. We are extremely grateful. Thank you for guiding me to this being. We are extremely grateful. When God is in the room, we don't always have to say God. Thank you, God. Thank you, this. When God is in the room, we don't have to say the names or nothing. It's in the room. That's like you're in a room with your sister and you're constantly saying, sister, but it's not Game of Thrones. Brother, we must go to mother's house. And this is not Game of Thrones. God is in the room. And sometimes we understand that we need not labels. It's about the frequency. So when you practice talking to God without saying God, you can understand the frequency beyond just the label. Because God is beyond just the term God. God is beyond just the term source. God is beyond the terms that we give it. Because remember, we are giving it with human language. I can guarantee you angels and light beings are not labeling God as any particular thing. They're being in this knowingness. So on the count of 3, we are going to say, thank you for this being. We are extremely grateful. 1, 2, 3. Everyone in unison. Thank you for this being. We are extremely grateful. And so it is. Peace, Wolfkai. Now, on the count of 3, we are going to say, knowingness rests within me as my heartbeat. Alrighty? On the count of 3, we are all going to say, knowingness rests. I'm sliding into meditation. Meditating with your eyes open. On the count of 3, we're going to say, knowingness rests within me as my heartbeat. 1, 2, 3. Knowingness rests within me as my heartbeat. And so it is. If y'all feel that energy, if y'all feel the collaborative energy, if y'all feel this as providing service for you, type 33s in the chat. Type 33s in the chat. If y'all see this as servicing you, if y'all feel the energy, type 33s in the chat. We asked our question. Well, first we set up the environment, then we asked our question, then we held space for hearing, then we had our gratitudes, then we expressed our knowing. Always do it in that order. Remember, this live will be posted on our YouTube page. Click our link on our bio. Click Nadiie Black's guidance. This will be posted there. Follow in that order. Do not change anything that we give you. We give it to you in particular orders for specific reasons. Don't do knowingness and then gratitude. No, it's gratitude and then knowingness. First, you set up the environment. You set the frequencies up. You deliver that which is the question. You deliver a space to hear. Then you express your gratitudes. Then you express your knowingness. Source is telling me more. He says, I have the capacity to be bold, but I need to learn when to use. Yes. 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 I see it says, where is my soulmate on the top? I'm having much confusion on this. Yes, we're getting to that. I'm very grateful you asked that question. Why? The reason why we did all of this, right? To find our own soul agreements, to do all of this. Remember, all of this was finding our own soul agreements and knowing how we are, our frequency is internally. Why? Because you are your first soulmate. That's why we did all of this. You are your first soulmate. You are your first soulmate. You must know what's on your soul agreements to figure out if you want that to stay. You must know what your frequency is so you can figure out if you want to stay in that frequency or shift. You are your first soulmate. Where is your soulmate? Look in the mirror. Reality is a reflection of what you are. In order for you to find your soulmate, you must find yourself. You must find the mate in yourself. And when you find the mate in yourself with utilizing these techniques that we've given you, utilizing this knowingness that we have provided, this will guide you to finding yourself. When you find yourself in your whole, understand that another whole soul will come to you. Not a half. There's no 50-50 in holy connections. 50-50 are in human relationships. There are 100% and 100% in holy connections. We are our full expression. There is 200% in holy connections and 100% in human relationships. There's no 50-50, it's 100-100. I don't need no one to complete me, so therefore don't allow anyone to quote unquote complete you, because nobody can complete you. That is just called codependence. That is just called codependence. We, all of the people that involve themselves with this technique, are not codependent anymore. We affirm that because now we know. What about community? What do you mean by that? All right, everybody, if you have any questions, because we're typically what we do during this segment, because that was extremely powerful, what we do is we will ask any questions, answer any questions. We'll open up panels if you want to speak about how the service made you feel. What's your YouTube again? Click the link in my bio on my TikTok page. You will see the link. Click that, and you click Nadiie Black's Guidance. When you click Nadiie Black's Guidance, it'll take you to my YouTube page where you can watch all of these lives for free. Today's live will be posted later on today. So, if you have any questions, type them in the chat. We're going to do a quick Q&A, a very quick Q&A. It could pertain to the theme of today. It could pertain to another theme that we spoke on. Do you go live regularly? I go live every Friday and Sunday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will pop in every here and there with something called Secrets of the Soul. That's like a little quick, live that we do together. That's sporadic. It's just when Source says go live right now and it's not a Friday or a Sunday, then I'll just randomly go live. Remember, if you are interested in booking a session with me, if all of this provides service, remember, we're doing this and it's working for you in a group setting. So you can only imagine how it would be if we're on a one-on-one setting. So that's why it's very, very important. If you love this energy, you have more questions, it's very, very big, click the link in my bio, click book a session, and book a session with me. And also, if we provide a service, click the link in the bio and donate. We're very grateful. All of the donations, all of the love donations will be dumped into this, so we don't have to focus on earth jobs anymore. But we're doing a quick Q&A, y'all. Ask yourself some questions. If I don't get to it, I promise you, when you click the link in the bio, you go to the YouTube page, you'll see maybe your question could be answered in one of the other lives, but I'll also note it, and it will be revealed in the next live. All right, let me scroll up to see about these questions. Doing a quick Q&A, then we're going to open panels up. When we open the panels, you're going to speak about how you feel, how the service today, the Sacred Sunday service provided energy for you. You're going to introduce yourself, because we have to get comfortable with talking about the light, because the Christ consciousness is the throat energy center, or throat chakra, as some say. That's where Christ consciousness resides. How do we know this? You'll quite literally say the word. Word, the word. Where do words come from? The mouth, the throat. You know you're in Christ conscious energy when you're able to deliver the word, the light. That's the throat chakra. If your throat chakra is restrictive, you're not being in your God will expression, your full expression. Okay, connection with community. I feel it's extremely important. We need some kind of dependency with community. If we love community a lot, remember, everybody click the link in my bio and click the mystery school. That is how we formalize our community. Instead of it being so sporadic and you randomly see me on live one day, so you click it, click the mystery school. Click the link in the bio, click the mystery school. But before you do, DM me 33, and I'll give you our free 3-day course. Because if you aren't willing to implement at least 3 days with God, why are you trying to join a mystery school? After you finish the 3-day course, then you can sign up for the mystery school. You can sign up as a membership, not as a free user. Not a, no. A membership. When you are aligned with something financially, physically, spiritually, and mentally, all four of those, financially, spiritually, physically, and mentally, that's how we know you're serious about it. If you aren't willing to put money behind something, you're not as serious about it. If you aren't willing to put mental energy behind something, or spiritual energy behind something, or physical energy behind something, if you aren't willing to show up to a particular place, if you aren't willing to do all of these things in unison, you're not as serious as you think you are about the spirituality. So if you love the community, click link in the bio, join the mystery school. But before you do, DM me and I'll give you our free 3-day course. Because that 3-day course has a lot of information that will assist you with how we want to structure the mystery school. Love the group exercises. Follow the foster. Thank you. KBE. I believe my husband is my soulmate at a dream, but it may have been in the astrals. Husband turned into blue electricity and was pouring it into me. What was that? I see your husband at some point learned from the Pleiadians, and that's not just because of blue. The Pleiadians, they have this affection with electromagnetic energy and that type of stuff. A lot of the times, the way Pleiadians create portals is through electricity, but I would say in regards to that, just from reading the question, so like, I would recommend you book a session to get some deep information, but just from reading the question, the energy, and then what was coming from that, I wouldn't even say that your husband is your soulmate from what I'm seeing, but what I am seeing is your husband is something, there's something beyond us. The soulmate isn't the end-all, be-all. There's something beyond that. But your husband is more akin to your archetype. So that's very, very interesting. And it's rare. It's very rare for someone to be in a holy connection with one of their archetype. But when that happens, it's far deeper than a soulmate connection. And there's a mission, a bigger mission to be had when you're incarnating with your archetype. So that means there's no excuse. There's no excuse. So like, for example, I'm of the Christ conscious archetype. We call it God's will, or Source's will, or the will of Source. Being in the Christ conscious archetype, because me and my wife are of that ilk, if we align ourselves with each other, when we found each other again in this life, she's really deep into her spirituality. She's a doula. She heals people. She's a master herbalist or herbal artist, as she says. Very, very powerful things. When we came together, things sped up tremendously. We came together. The lives started to come about very, very much so. People started saying, I'm changing their lives much more. When we was coming together, the energies were amplified. That's because she's a part of my archetype, the Christ conscious archetype. If he was just a soulmate, a little different. Soulmates can apply to pretty much everything as long as the frequencies match. When you start dealing with the archetype type of energy, that's not applying to everybody. That's particular groups of people. And if you miss an archetype, you miss it until they double back. So that's very, very beautiful, KBE, that you have someone that you're married to that's in your archetype. Very, very beautiful. Okay. See, we're doing a quick Q&A. We're going to open up the panels to see what everybody is speaking. Speak, young God. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you. Alicia or Alicia? We're very grateful for your presence. We love all of you. We really do love all of you. Very grateful. I love, just love y'all. I love staying here. That's why, like, just a quick little side note. Because God is like, just get it out, Nadiie. I'm like, man, thank you. I really love all of you. And I have this dream that we are going to take this so beyond just what we experience here. Like, I have this dream. And I have this dream that I can just be so in perfect alignment with just only doing the teachings instead of playing these earthly games. I meet everybody else where they are. The reason why I even still have earthly jobs is because every job I go to, there is somebody there that I change, like in terms of their lives and how they view spirituality and stuff. So there's still value in me going to these places, because these corporate places and all of that, because like when I go to a job, I've been doing this. Every interview that I go in, I go full native gear, feathers, all of that. I speak with light language because I'm saying if you're not going to accept me as God's child, I don't need to work here. I don't fake the fun. I don't wear suits and all of that to try to impress people. No. I walk in full me, and if you want to hire me, perfect. That means you see the value. And then, yeah. But it's coming to a point now where it's like we're diving deep into this. So I really love all of you. Okay. Let's see some more questions. We're gonna quick Q&A. We're gonna open up the panels, and then we're gonna do our native prayer. Remember, we are Sikh Sika. We have a native prayer on the native tongue, so stick around for the native prayer, and then we're gonna wrap everything up. When would I meet my divine partner? You would have to book a session for that, Erica, a divine love, Ashe. To book a session for that because the when, that's very specific. I would need you to know about your past relationship. I would need to know about your family, your birth chart, all of this, and I can give you a better answer. But just off the strength, just channeling something, I don't even want to give you any hope that it's going to be either fast or long or nothing. I got to know the full, because as a spirit being, as a spirit-based being that is timeless, when somebody asks me when, I'm always going to say soon. That's what the angels taught me to say. Anytime somebody says when, always say soon to affirm that time is not so. It's always going to happen soon. Time is only being utilized when we put our power into it. For example, I always tell people, if you envision a timeline, you know what a timeline looks like, everybody? Like a line with the lines in between it, and they have like time points. Visualize a timeline. Now, what happens when you walk back? Say the timeline is right here, right? What happens when you walk back? The timeline gets smaller and smaller and smaller. The more, it's like this when you're up close, right? And then when you walk back, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. When you're very far back, when you're up in heaven, like the angels, timelines that look like 300 years to us is like one day for them. So when they say soon, take their soon with a grain of salt. Only don't take it with a grain of salt if you understand timelessness and you actually understand it. Some people just say they're timeless, but they don't actually know what that means. But we really integrate it. So we are Pleiadian archetypes at KBE. No, you're not Pleiadian archetypes, but your husband has worked with Pleiades very, very closely. I can see that very closely. Let's see what else. What other questions? We love you as well. Have the same dream. We love you. Thank you. I love you. I love all of y'all. I came to this video not by coincidence. Thank you for guiding me here. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We love you. It's almost every night. How can we overcome the habit of escapism and numbing, cresting addiction? That's a very good question. That's a great question, Christina. Man, so I'm like the pro at this, cause especially on my path, mainly simply because the world doesn't see value in what I do. But we have to recognize as light workers, it's the world's job to not see value in the light, because the world is of duality. Its foundations is of separation. If its foundations is of a particular thing, we can't then force love upon a place that was birthed from non-love. What we can do is guide that place to seeing itself differently. So how to overcome the habit of escapism, always wanting to leave, always feeling out of place, numbing, not feeling like the world cares so much, not feeling all of this type of energy. The best way is, one, utilize the prayer, A.K.A. divine statement. God, guide me to seeing this differently. I'm talking about if you're arguing with somebody, quickly, God, guide me to seeing this argument differently. God, guide me to seeing this conversation differently. God, guide me to seeing this life scenario that I'm currently in differently. You do that. And then there's another prayer, A.K.A. technique that you can utilize, which is, I see all through the eyes of God. I see this as holy. I see this as, when I say this, you insert something. So let's say there's a job that is like irritating you. I see this job as holy. I see this tree as holy. I see as, you see it all through holiness. And this is also a way to bypass certain triggers, because a lot of people have issues with the word holy because of the stigma that religion has given it. But remember, us as natives Sika, and many other native cultures, we utilize holy. When we were speaking of the prophecies of the warriors of the rainbow, we referred to the warriors of the rainbow, the beings that came down, as the holy ones. So don't get caught up in, oh, the religion terrorized that word or whatever. No. We've been utilizing these words, and the religion just hijacked what we've already been using. Even the cross, natives was using it far beyond, certain religions and stuff. So this is not to ignore what religion has done to it, but this is also not to ignore we was using it first. So remember this. So when you have certain triggers with certain words like God, like some people can't say God, or if you can't say God, say source. But look at that. Why are you feeling some type of way about an illusionary word? Because remember, this world is not so, it's of an illusion. We know the world is of an illusion because the world isn't only love, and we know God is only love. How do we know this? When you pray to God, you don't feel anything other than love. You don't feel terrorized and scared and, oh my gosh, I'm about to get clapped right now. You don't feel that when you pray to God. You feel love. Therefore, God is only love. So if you have a world that makes you feel something other than how God makes you feel, that world is not so, for God did not construct it. It is of our own imaginations. So how you overcome the escapism and numbing and all of this, you see through the eyes of holiness. You ask God to guide you to seeing as it sees. You affirm things that you may not see as serving, as seeing it through the eyes of holiness. And then it serves for you to simplify your life. How do we simplify our life? Everybody has a routine, right? We get up, go to the restroom, maybe brush our teeth, maybe get a cup of coffee or make some tea, make breakfast or whatever. Simplify your life to making your daily routine 3 things. And then after you get to your daily routine, then let's say your afternoon routine. Try to simplify your life to 3 things. I'm going to go to work, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to work, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Try to make your life simple. Because a lot of the times, escapism and numbing and all of these addictions come forth because our souls and consciousness doesn't know. We're overwhelmed. We don't know what to start with. It's just too much. It's just too much. Everything's too much. Earth, oh my gosh, it's too much. Simplify your life, and now it's not too much. All right, we're going to answer one more question. Don't worry, Christina. In a world of crazies, they will call you crazy for being sane. So do not worry. Mal. My son is being attacked in his dreams by abusive grandfather. How can I help him? So this is going to be my last question, and then we're going to open up our panels. We're going to accept 3 people in the panels, and we're going to start our native prayers. My son is being attacked in his dreams. Pause. The age of your son matters, but if your son is conscious enough to repeat things that you say back in his mind's eye and out loud, guide your son to understanding that pain is not so, attacking is not so. Why is this important? It is extremely important for you to guide your son if he's quote-unquote being attacked. And this is coming from a person that got spiritually attacked before until I stopped recognizing me as being attacked, and they stopped. The main reason is a lot of these beings that have dark energy, as we say, around them, they can't do anything to us when we are at our defaults. Our defaults is the child of God. We're not the children of God. We are all one. We are the child of God. So yes, God indeed did have one child, and it is us. When you're at your defaults, you are an abundant being that is Source's will embodied. Nothing can harm you. Until the ego comes in. So what the dark beings do is they talk to your ego, not your soul, and get the ego to say, I'm susceptible to anything. Just I'm susceptible. Not who cares what comes after. It's just I'm susceptible to whatever. Then when you're susceptible to certain information and energy, that's when they come in. They literally use a mind manipulation technique. a judo move, utilizing your own ego against you. So that's why it's very, very important for you to tell your son, it's okay because nothing can harm you. But I feel like I'm being harmed. Well, you only feel like you're being harmed because you're affirming somewhere that harm is possible. You must remember that you are the child of God. You must remember you are the child of God. See God, you can say like this, see God as a squirrel. See God as a squirrel. If you, my son, try to go chase after this squirrel, can you get it? No, I can't. Why? Because it's too fast. Exactly. We translate that analogy into this. If you see yourself as one that is fast and can't get caught, then they can't catch you. So if you see yourself as one who is God's child, if you see yourself as God's child, then that's the defense. When you see yourself as God's child, you are the squirrel in this analogy. Those beings can't get you. A squirrel is fast. And now if you're a gliding squirrel on top of that, not only are you fast climbing up the tree, you're like Knuckles gliding across every piece of land over all of these dark beings. So you must not affirm in an enemy. Your sight is extremely important. They only have as much power as you're willing to give. 1. That is, my son is being attacked in his dreams. Pause. Now the other one, by his abusive grandfather. Now, that's another section. That section is in regards to lineage. So now ancestral healing. So what I would do if I was you, Crystal, go watch our ancestral healing video. Click the link in our bio, click Nadiie's Guidance. Watch our ancestral healing video. But I'll give you some footnotes on that. Ancestral healing. When you have specific elders come to you and they do particular things, they want you to focus on something. If your elder has tried to speak with you in a positive way and you didn't see it, you didn't recognize it, sometimes they would do things in what you would consider a negative way because you would see that. It would shock you. Oh my gosh, why did they do that? And now you're paying attention. Sometimes elders need you to pay attention. So now, when you affirm that you can't be hurt, what you can do is, if your son is of age, you can give him some form of prayers or techniques like, first, we affirm that we can't be hurt. Then, what we're going to do is we're going to call forth this grandfather. Try to do it in your dreams. Set intention before you go to sleep to have tea with your grandfather. And only tea. And make it to where only this is possible. Nothing else. We are only having tea. That's why, like, remember the saying, Buddha is a saying that Buddha said, like, sit and have tea with your ego. You would do this with your grandfather. You would, before you go to sleep in your sleep state, set an intention. God, guide me to being the frequency that aligns with me meeting and seeing my grandfather and us having tea with one another and only having tea with one another. And then you go into your sleep state. When you set that intention, then you will be able to have tea. You will be at a table and your grandfather will be in front of you. And he'll just be sipping tea. And then you can have your son ask specific questions. Why you're here? What is your purpose? What is the reasoning? A lot of the times, spirits want to help us, but because we're ignoring so many signs, they do things that will catch our attention, like try to attack us, because we're going to pay attention to that. So then you ask the why. When you ask the why, they will give you a clear answer. And then at the end of the start, and you don't, if your son is not of age and he doesn't necessarily know how to do this in the dream state, you can hold space with him one day and do this while both of you are awake. And then after this, after you had the conversation, even if your son doesn't hear anything, you say the why. You ask the why, right? And you just trust that the grandfather has answered. And then, after you give it enough time for the grandfather to answer, you say this. You have served. You are now retired. You have now served. You are now retired. Any of that iteration. You have served. You express your gratitude. Thank you. You are now retired. We know in this. Remember, express your gratitude and in the knowingness. So that is how you get out of that situation. Because the grandfather is trying to give you some information, and we have to set it up to where we can have space for him to give us information. We have to break these ancestry issues if we fail making our kids aware from our yes, this is always good, so they can understand and break it in their life, right? Yes. Alrighty, y'all, we're going to open up these panels. We're going to speak about today's service, how it provided assistance for you. You can speak about, your lineage. You can ask me a question if you want to. We're going to limit it to 3 minutes per person. I have 3 rules. The 3 rules is do not talk over anybody. The 3 rules is do not argue and only love. All right. If you do not agree with something, you don't have to, bash it. You can just say, I don't agree with it. All right. There's always a loving way to handle things. All right. We're going to open up the. It has 4 people, but we're only accepting 3. So remember, because the Christ consciousness is in the throat chakra. The Christ consciousness is in the throat chakra. All right, so we mute that. So, and if you are willing to come up and send the invites, we'll invite you up. You can introduce yourself, speak about how today's service provided you service, speak about spirituality, ask me a question if it serves. We're going to limit it to 3 minutes per person. Do not talk over anybody, do not argue, and we are going to express that, which is love. Anybody else? 3 people. We need 2 more. Who is willing to express the light through their Christ consciousness frequency? I think I just watched a Netflix series on this. See? I'll be saying the truth, man. I'll be telling y'all. I would love to come up, but my kids are up now and they're too loud. It's fine. We love the children. I just came back. We're starting up the panels. Who else wants to come? It won't allow me to come as a guest. Why? That is very interesting. Viewers. I don't know why I won't let you. So I know sometimes there's a specific thing within our settings that allow us to not. It says live access. Yes, is needed to go live. Yep. That's exactly what happened last time. Well, it's okay. Riri, what am I missing? We are in the panel portion. So if essentially you have anything to say about, today's service, or you want to speak about a particular spiritual thing, or if anything that's heavy on your heart, you have 3 minutes, you can deliver that information. And you can come up, you can speak to me. What is the panel question? Well, the panel question, there's no particular question. You can just come up and introduce yourself in whatever you feel serving to say. You can say it in regards to spirituality, in regards to the topic, soul level attraction, your own soul level energy, your own relationships. You can speak about how today's service provided you service and all of that. Do we wait to this for the slot to be full? Perfect. Alrighty, we got 2 people. Hold on, wait 1 second. Do we wait for the slot to be full to start speaking? Yeah, I would I'll unmute your mic and then give you the panel. All right, everybody, we got 2. Do we have 1 more person that wants to speak on spirituality, how today's service provided assistance for them? Anything particularly that's heavy on your heart? Any question that you may ask of me? How your own personal relationship with your soulmate or soul partner or holy connection or archetype is. Anything that serves for you to speak about, even if it's something about spirituality that you just wanted to get off and you just needed a spiritual family to get this off. Anything that's heavy on your heart, you can speak about it. Just come up into the panel. Panel going once. Panel going twice. Alrighty. So Christina, introduce yourself. How everything served for you. The floor is yours.
Hi, yeah, my name is Christina. Nice to meet you. And I definitely feel like I was guided to this video for, it wasn't a coincidence. I needed it. I had a very emotional morning this morning. A lot of confusion about my path right now. Um, I'm definitely going through a lot of battles in isolation, alone. My family's turned their back on me. Like I have nobody besides my kids. I am in a relationship, but we are currently not seeing eye to eye, and just not in a good place at all. So that's pretty much what's heavy on my heart. And I've been told that I've had a lot of spell work done. I don't know if I really believe that, but I've been told by numerous readers that, and also that I have this huge will here, but I don't feel it. I don't feel like that because I just feel very confused and lost at this time.
Mm. It was very interesting hearing you. I can see why readers would say, and remember, everything that we deliver in terms of messages, even if it may be perceived as we're speaking to one particular person, it also can apply to you. That's why also
Mm,
when I would say, remember, you are not just one particular zodiac sign, you're every single zodiac sign. So as a master and knowing this, if you don't like, let's say you're a Capricorn, if you don't like the reading of what the Capricorn says, go to another reading that you would like. But
mhm.
I can know that you do have this this is energy about you. I can see why certain readers would say you have this will, mainly because when's the last time you've been indecisive about something? Like even if it's very small, like should I get this food or that food?
Currently, right, like in the last hour.
Last hour. All right.
Yeah.
So for us to recognize your power, we would have to first understand the power in our choice. So make sure you DM me 33 and I'll give you a free day, our free 3 day course because it actually day three really involves that the
Yes.
power and the choice. So we have to bring forth the awareness of our choices have power and our realities based upon our choices. And that will greatly
Right.
assist you because when you recognize the power in your choices, then randomly it may seem like it's random, but it really isn't so random. Some things will just start appearing in your life very fast. Some people call it manifestations, but it's actually a little deeper than that. We call it divine orchestration. So what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing like almost like a gate. I'm seeing a lot of people around this gate, like light beings. I guess you can consider that because they're just humanoid structures are just light. I see this gate opening up, but it's cracked. It's like, kind of like, say this is the gate, and it's like kind of like this, kind of opening, but I'm not all the way. And you have these light beings, but they're waiting for something. They're waiting for a realization of you. And the realization is not you recognizing that the choices is powerful, that your choices, but from recognizing that your choices have power, then that will lead you to a revelation or epiphany that you can apply to your life to have this gate fully open because this gate is a new life. So essentially, what we're also seeing is your immediate environment or your routines, try to change it. So, for example, let's say you walk um, oh, yes, exactly. So let's say you have a routine where you get up, you get in a shower or whatnot, you brush your teeth, you go out, but you don't do a lot of walking, you don't go outside in nature. What we're saying is make a complete shift with your family, with your partner, with whoever. Just say, let's go to like a park or something. Go to nature, let's go to the trees, just escape this environment. And what serves when you do that, when you set the intention that we're making that this stagnant energy into that flowing energy, what serves is the location that you choose because choice is power. So the reason
Yeah.
why we're saying this, thank you, Source. The reason why we're saying this is even though you don't feel like your choices or you have some type of power in you, ultimately when you decide something, when you make a decision on something, somehow, some way, it was the perfect decision for you to make. Somehow, some way, it works out somehow, some way. So what we're saying is when you do make the shift to go to a complete different environment, you could bring your husband, you could bring your kids, or you could just be by yourself, depending on what serves for you. The moment you pick a place, whatever place you pick, it could be by the ocean, it could be anywhere, just a different environment other than your home. Something very powerful will happen, a revelation, an epiphany. but you have to leave room for it. So how we had like space being held for, we asked a question to source, we held space, and then we held space for just hearing source. That is going to happen when you go to this new environment. It's guaranteed it's going to happen. But it's about your choice. So then you must recognize when that happens, when it happens, because it will. You must recognize that this happened because of my decision making. So I
I get
have
what you're
power.
saying.
So
I definitely understand what you're saying.
yes,
And I've felt like that before too. I think I've had that revelation. It's like an up and down roller coaster for me. It's like one week I'm doing great and I'm in that energy that you're speaking of, and I'm aware of my decision. And then the next week it's like all crumbled down again. It's just the strangest thing.
yes, that happens to us a lot being in this field, especially in my own life, mainly because of the pathways that we choose, and a lot of the times we are experiencing a pathway that is of service for other people. So when we experience certain things, like for example, I'm this Christ conscious being of bliss and peace and all of that, but sometimes I'll feel this down, depressed, deep energy, and it's like, where did that come
Right.
from? And then I can recognize, oh, I'm on Earth, and Earth people feel this. So in order for me to guide people on how to transmute it, I have to also feel it so I can move through it. Because it's easier to translate information if you've been through something. If someone is going through sadness and you've been sad and you've moved past that sadness, utilizing whatever technique serves, then you can display that form of technique to another in a relatable sense because you too have went through it. So sometimes when you experience sadness, don't think you're doing anything wrong. That will be the ego playing tricks on you. When you are a light worker, as powerful as you are. See, this is what I always say. If you have 10 beings, let's say there's only 10 people on earth, and all 10 of them, or even 9 of them, are saying, you're the truth, I promise you're the truth. You may be the only person not saying, I don't see what y'all see, but sometimes it serves for you not to see the full, picture until it is in complete alignment. Like for example, there are certain techniques and abilities that I have that in physicality don't show up until I'm in certain gatherings or certain sessions with specific people, and then all of a sudden I will remember how to do a particular technique. But that's mainly because of it's a case by case basis within your own frequency. So, in conclusion, before we move on to Riri, understand that if you feel this fluctuation of energies, always remember that your defaults are this abundant child of source. And if any form of down energy come about, it's not necessarily because of anything you're doing. You may be one that is holding space for someone that is feeling that is very nearby, because I can see
Okay.
that you're energetically sensitive. I can see that even when you have your kids, there's certain things that you can sense about your kids that they don't even need to tell you. You can tell when something is great or something is bad. You can just look at them. You can just tell. Far beyond
Right.
their facial expressions, far beyond their body language, you just know. Some people call it motherly instincts, but you have something that's far beyond even that, and that's a very powerful skill when utilized. But it also can be utilized when you have this knowingness about my default is always of a miraculous daughter of heaven. That's my defaults. So if anything shows up in my life that is not this default that I know I am, the abundance of source, the will of source, then I'm going to stop and ask myself the why, because I know it's not me, and then I'm going to ask the who. Who is this coming from, and why is it here? And what can I do? Then the what. What can I do to provide service to this place? And sometimes it can just be you sending loving energy or some light, or just like visualizing light going into a particular space, or you can this part is a little dangerous technique, but you can give that energy form. Don't use it if you're not prepared, but I can see people in this life has spiritual integrity. So if you know you're not ready, don't try to do it. I'm not going to hold your hand because you're the master. Everybody in here is masters, but I'm still going to tell you it. So if you feel some type of sadness or dark energy or whatever, you can utilize your words. You can say, by my name, I give this energy form. Come in front of me in my sacred space. And then it will come immediately. And then what you can do is you can sit the energy down and you can literally just like send, like how we was sending sound to it, you can send sound to it. You can visualize light into this form and utilize visualization really, really heavy. So when you give this dark energy form, you can also visualize it as dark. And when you visualize it as dark, then you can send this light energy and turn it into light. And then you can just have it wisp away. Be very careful with that technique though. But that is that. I know Riri left. I don't
Thank
know if you
you.
want to join back, but how do you feel about that?
I think that thank you very much. First of all, much gratitude for that information. I think it was very well needed, and it's made me realize that I need to get more knowledge. I need to this awakening. I've done all this on my own. I've sought the knowledge on my own, but I need to now be part of a community. This is making me realize I need to be part of a community to learn, because I need to learn how to, you know, manage this power. That's it. I need to learn. I'm so that's what I need to be looking into, is being part of something so that I can gain the knowledge I need to protect myself and to help other people.
Yes, you know. At this
Mm,
point, you don't even need to learn because you know. We're
yeah.
very grateful for your presence. Yes, you already are, Christina. We are all holding space for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are going to hold space for Riri. I see that she's still joining up. When she completely joins, then perfect.
Hey, hi. Welcome me into the space. Hi, Christina. How are you, girl?
Peace out to
um,
you.
I was very um, moved by what you were saying about, going throughout your journey, and now that you just need to focus more on mastering what you know. And congratulations to you just for acknowledging that and being very vulnerable about that part of your life.
Alrighty, you're back.
Okay, I'm so sorry. This is my first time coming into the space today, and everything was very, um, it was resonating with me, and so I stayed, and I even got a call, and which is why I left. But while I got that call, I just heard the spirit saying, "You don't want to miss this." So whatever I miss, God, I just pray that you give it, just give it to me, and make a way for me to understand through my connection with you throughout the week. But one thing, I made like a little list so I can make sure I hit all the points. So he was speaking about soul agreements. That was really touching to me. Um, Knowing what you agree with within your soul, is that what you were speaking on? I want to make sure I was clear. That's what we're speaking on, like what you desire, what your desires, what you feel like you are being called to do. That is the soul agreement, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
your desires, what you're being called to do, what serves for the soul in a given incarnation. So, for example,
Okay.
let's say your incarnation is going to serve for you to learn about conversing because you're going to be a salesperson. That will be on your soul agreement.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I love that because I was having a conversation, and we were. He was like, what are you looking for? And I was like, I desire to be married. And he was like, that was a strong word, the desired word. And he was like, well, where does that desire come from? And I said, well, my connection with God, being led, I feel that He set me down and took me away from the career that I had to actually sit back, really put me on the path that he created for me, which was going to school to be a counselor. I'm going into the psych field, so I'm in college for counseling and applied psychological science, and I want to go on to even be a doctor. And I do see God calling me to be a wife, to find my soulmate, and really knowing what it is that He wants me to do, and not settling, and having provision and seeing the vision that God has for me, and actually taking time to get to know a person and see if that person aligns with what you are being called. And so that was very powerful. And then whenever you said not having so many thoughts. So for me, I see like within the past 2 months, I have to constantly tell myself, stop thinking, just do what needs to be done. And this, is going on. I would say right now it's going on about 5 weeks, or throughout the course of 2 months. I'm in like week five, where I'm trying to really get myself to a point again where it's less thinking, more doing, more connected with the spirit, and just action, action, action. And you find yourself doing all of these things throughout the day without really thinking on it, because it's a sense of knowing, like you said. That's very, very strong and powerful for me, having a sense of knowing and having that, like they call it, Godfidence, having confidence in what it is that you're being called to do, and calling on the source in the morning, and asking him, well, welcoming him. And like you said, you can do this leap. Like you can skip like the prayer. A lot of religious people like that, I've grown up with, my family, I would try to tell them, you know, prayer is almost like a doubt. You have to know who you are, what you believe, what he is calling you to do, and then you just do it. And it's like that quantum leap. And they would say, things about it and have their opinions, but I just know my relationship and deep within my soul that prayer isn't exactly what people make it out to be. And you can just sit in your space and connect and know what it is you need to do for that day, for what it is that he has planned and that is already in place for you. And then you just jump to it and you just get it done. And I haven't heard anyone say that about prayer. So that was very powerful to me. And I feel like I have a space here and that I'm understood. And I like how you spoke also about just all the different things and tying it up together and just making it into this one, the Christ like mind. And but then tying in everything, every form of creation, the astrology and the, just everything when it comes down to like sage and different things that people may try to put this title on and call it witchcraft or whatever, but it's all of God's creation. And I like to reference, I don't know the exact Bible scripture, but I read and I remember, but I'm not to the point where I know the actual scriptures, but I can recite the teaching. And it was, acknowledge God in all your doings. And whenever I use any form of practice, I always acknowledge the source, because I know that he's a creator and he's created all these things for our good. Also, whenever you spoke about angelic beings, archangels, your kids being an archangel, and also I DM'd you 33 so I can get the free course, because I'm very interested in the schooling, the mystery schooling. Congrats to you on your journey with that.
Thank you.
And I'm very interested in it. And I connected with you whenever you were saying you have to, you know, just to, I don't know the word I'm going to use right now, but just to move, people from here to there, because you just never know where this social media is, the people who are going to control TikTok, we don't know how high a power they serve. So that's really big for you. But you was talking about angelic beings and things, and I have conversations. Even just yesterday, something happened, and I said, well, for me, I see like positive in everything, and certain things just don't exist in my realm of being. I feel that like being robbed or being shot or somebody like doing a home invasion. Because sometimes I'll just like live throughout life and I'll accidentally like leave my front door open. And I had a guest come over and they just snuck in. Like, well, I feel like they snuck in because they didn't knock. They didn't let their presence be acknowledged or anything. And they just came in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you scared me. And they're like, well, you left your door, unlocked. I'm just trying to show you what somebody will do. And I'm like, well, that doesn't exist in my awareness. I don't feel like that will ever happen to me. You have to think things so that they can be, and I don't think like that. And I see
Mm-hmm.
good in people. There can be a very, very cruel or evil person, but I can never see that in people. And so, like, now throughout my journey, I stay isolated and I just really use my discernment because I know that this person isn't, I'm not going to see them right off as a bad person. I'm going to see the good in them. And I've had a lot of failed relationships because I would see the good in them. And then once I got to know them, it's like, this is wrong. I know that you aren't meant for me. So I have to move on because your energy doesn't resonate within me. And so, I'm now on my path to finding my soulmate. And you also spoke about the the mission that you have with your soulmate. And just everything really just tied in with me. And I just want to show my gratitude and share what I learned. And I hope that this was, very, um, well, like it was beneficial. I hope that it enlightened you as well. And I really, really love your teachings. And I just wish the best for you. And I know everything will work out in your favor. And so I'll be closing now. And I appreciate this time to just talk and share.
Thank you. We're very, very grateful for your presence. We are very, very grateful for all the people that come forth and bring forth this awareness and this presence. It really, really serves. Remember when we was on our 7-day lives, when we first started going live on TikTok, and for the eclipse, April 1st to April 7th. Remember, click the link in the bio, click Nadiie Black's guidance if you missed all of that. 16 hours of very beautiful teachings. We was telling all of you, I think it was around day 3 or 4. Actually, it was day 2. See me not as an external being, see me as you. So right now, it's not about me teaching, it's about us coming and collaborating, because I don't want disciples anymore. I don't want any of that type of energy, because we're all equal. And it serves for all of us to recognize this. So on day 2 of the 7-day live for the eclipse, I took a back seat and we was doing much more collaborative things. I was saying, if you ask a question, trust that somebody in the comments will answer it, because we are all masters. Don't view me as just pedestal or whatnot. We're all equal. Even if I perform something that somebody may deem as a miracle, know that you also are performing it with me. That's why our techniques are very collaborative, because I need you to understand you are doing it. I'm only telling you what to do, but you're actually doing it. People are saying they feeling this energy, stuff like that. So recognize it's you. So it's very, very beautiful. Now we have KBE. Introduce yourself. How do you feel about today's service? What's heavy on your heart? What do you feel serves for you to say?
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. And thank you so much for the message today. I think Christina and Riri and I have a lot of things in common. Christina talking about like feelings of isolation. I'm so sorry with my kids in the background.
I love the kids.
With the isolation. I'm so sorry. She's not going to stop. I'm going to let somebody else speak.
Oh, we love it. We sense a little of what she speaks of, but of understanding that in truth that there's far more than just this immediate life that we're experiencing. There's far more than the feelings or thoughts that we give ourselves in terms of this individual mindset. It really serves for all of us, especially as it pertains to soulmates and want to be in one or in unison with your beings of your archetype or stuff like that. It serves for you to view through the eyes of one. It's view through a much more broader sense, instead of thinking as such as a individual. Mainly because when we perceive as individuals, it's more of separation. And it's really, really important as we move deeper into realizing this holy connections with one another, that both parties, they service one another in a grand sense, not just as individuals providing benefit or in that way. No, it's much deeper than that. We are literally connected. But KB, you can continue.
Yeah. So I manifested a job about a year ago. It was a $100,000 job, and I don't have a degree, so it was a big deal. And it moved us halfway across the country. And now I've been isolated for the past year. Like, we have nobody out here. It's just me, my husband, my kids. And lost. I've been doing all this deep shadow work. I'm in therapy. I'm learning about spirituality, and I feel like I'm getting nowhere. Like, I blew this job. Like, I'm probably getting fired very soon. And it's not because I can't do it. It's because I don't have faith in myself. I don't believe in myself. And I believed in myself enough to get the job, to make the leap. I'm lost.
So, when dealing with this energy, it always serves to ask yourself questions. And it really would serve to simplify. So, I'll give an example about my life when I had a particular job. And it also, oh, that's a beautiful story. Yes, thank you, Source. What we're going to talk about is how I met my wife. And this will help you and it will help everybody else. How I met my wife. I was living with my mother for a particular, period of time, as we all are when we're in families. And then I moved out and I got a roommate, and we lived in this place called Cornerstone. I currently live here, but now with my own apartment. In the connection with my roommate, I ended up getting a job selling furniture, making a lot of money. It's my very first official corporate type of job. My other jobs were teaching music, because I do music. I was running a studio, so I had a lot of artists from all over the city come and record all over Ohio and stuff like that. Then I stopped doing that, got my first job working at the furniture place, selling furniture, making a lot of money. Eventually, company policies changed, so I had to leave. But I ended up getting a credit for a ticket, $300 credit, because I was supposed to go to like New York or Atlanta for one of my friend's birthday, but didn't pan out, so I got the credits. They said that the credit is going to end in October. It was August at the time of me leaving my job, so I had September to plan and really just get everything done. I had to take that leap. I was scared. I never traveled an airplane before. I never left the state like this before. Now I have to leave. Like I gotta get out of this energy. I'm about to get fired from my job. There's a lot of stuff going on. This job gave me a lot of money. I saved up enough to go on this trip, so I just did it. I used a $300 credit, booked a trip to Sedona in Arizona, one of the most spiritual places you will ever meet. And I met one of the masters that was teaching me at the time, Michael Murdad. And I still watch some of his sessions, his Sunday services from time to time. Very, very powerful. But I was in there live a particular Sunday. So I went there for about 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. No, it was 7 days. 7 days. Experienced that beautiful energy. And then when I came back with this weight off my shoulder. So anytime, to pause. When you are about to go through a big shift, or when you're going through the dark night and you're leaving something, whatever energy you're leaving, is always good to leave, just really leave it. Like, take the leap. Like, okay, if you're going to fire me, I want to leave the state for a little bit and give myself some time, some energy, and hold space for myself and really prioritize what matters. So I did that. I left. So that goes in any situation, a breakup, if you leave your dog or whatever, any connection or anything that happens in your life where you're exiting a situation, it always serves to have a spiritual vacation. I promise you it helps. Even if it's just, I'm going to go to, the forest or the park or whatever for like 3-4 hours, like literally have a picnic and like sleep on the ground. I don't care if anybody sees anything. I don't care. I'm going to lay everything out, have my sandwiches ready, like literally just ground. On a sunny day, particularly. After I came back, now I'm on the road looking for a new job. At this point in time, no wife, no relationship, nothing. I'm just living life. I ended up saving enough money to get my own apartment afterwards, and I'm now looking for a new job, so I work at Verizon. Working at Verizon, selling phones, selling furniture, now to selling phones. Stayed there for a little bit, almost a year, and they transferred me to a new location that was very, very far away from my house because I was so good at selling, and they needed some help and assistance at the other location. Because I don't have a car, I was spending about $60 round trip, so my entire check was getting dumped. I didn't tell nobody this, and then when one of the general managers found out, they said, "What in the world? We have a payback system." So they gave me a lot of my money back. Pretty much, I would say 95% of all of the money that I spent on transportation, they gave it back in my next check because they transferred me. So it was like, it's only right that because we transferred you, we're going to give you your money back. Boom. That's another. And throughout this entire thing, record, I'm still teaching. I'm still holding space. When I got fired from my job, I didn't doubt. I wasn't scared. I wasn't crying. I said, all right, time for God immediately. Are you want to fire me? Bet. Time for God. Sedona. New job. Oh, you want to transfer me to this location all the way on the west side? Time for God. All right, bet. Cool. No complaints throughout it. And when you have that divinely guided action, Source will show up for you. I definitely was talking to Source. Maybe a tear shed here and there, a thug tear. Quick, thug tear, singular tear. But then, we remember, I'm the son of Source. So somehow, some way, something is going to work out. And I was sitting down after my shift at the new location of Verizon. One of the GM, for whatever reason, he decided to come up that day. Remember, all of this is holding space. When you anchor this frequency, God will allow certain things to happen. All right, cool. Nadiie, he has to, let's say the frequency was 3. Nadiie has to register himself at the frequency 3. And when he does that, that gives me enough time to have the general manager, for whatever reason, say, I want some coffee. And because there was a Starbucks right next to our job. But if I didn't register at that frequency of 3, maybe God wouldn't have sent the general manager that thought to get some coffee. So, went to Starbucks, got his coffee, came in. Oh, hey, Nadiie, what you doing? I'm waiting for my lift. Because I live here, I don't have a car. And then for whatever reason, he just decided to ask, how much do your list cost? $60 round trip. What? You do this? You don't get paid that much. You're using your whole check? No, we're not doing that. All because I chose to just resonate in this frequency of it's okay. And then you know what God did? Perfect. We're going to make sure you get your money back. Then eventually I had to leave because thank you for getting my money back. Now I have to leave. I got my money back. Now I can leave. Because it was just too much. So now we moved on to another job. And we're in between jobs. Good gracious. Don't know what's going to happen. Found a job at CVS. They loved me. I needed rent. They hired me on the spot. Still no wife. Still no none of that. But at this job at CVS, the time that I got hired, somebody else ended up getting hired. And this person was somebody that introduced me to many, many people in the music field in our city. I live in Columbus, Ohio. So because I do music, click the link in the bio, click Nadiie Bike's music page. You can see when you click the link in the bio and click Nadiie Bike's music page, listen to our song GPS. There's a music video. It's really, really good. I make very, very good music. So while I was connecting with him, he was like, but there's a show that's coming up. I heard your music. You're really, really good. You should show up for the show. He introduced me to this person. This person introduced me to that person. Now I'm in the Colombian music scene, and everybody's just booking me for shows because everybody literally is saying you're the greatest performer I've ever seen with my own eyes. Oh my gosh, you're rapping with no lyrics in the background. You're just rapping over the beat. Yes, that's how Bob Marley and Michael Jackson did it. So why wouldn't I do it? They didn't recognize that. Oh, you treat performing as very. I got all of these connections with this job, but if I decided to fight for the first job, I wouldn't have gotten to this job. If I decided to fight, if I stayed one extra week at that one job and fought, I wouldn't have met this person that introduced me to this person, that introduced me to this person. So I just trust. So it's really important for you to just trust and know. If I stayed in one extra day at the Verizon job, I wouldn't have got that interview surrender. Yeah, exactly, surrender. I wouldn't have gotten that interview opening. This wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been able to meet this person. Everything was all right. This is what we're doing. Bet I'm adjusting. So when I got the CVS job, finally everything was going good, and something happened at the CVS job where we ended up going through some form of scam. Because there were some Batman level villains, all right? And at CVS, when I was working there, there's no corporate presence. You don't feel corporate. When people call from quote unquote corporate, they just say it's so-and-so from corporate, do this, do this, do this. So that's what these scammers did, and they got us because there's no corporate presence. How am I supposed to know they're not corporate? So after that, there was a situation where me and another employee was feeling this energy because the store got scammed. So the general manager was, kind of angry, understandably so, because she has to run the store. He didn't like the way the energy was in the building, so he wanted to quit. But he had this note in his pocket, this letter of resignation. But I'm the symbolism of what was going on. He refused to put the note on the table. He came up to me and him talking. I'm tired of it. I left. He came, talked again. I'm so serious. He pulled a note in his pocket. I'm so serious. I want to leave. I want to leave. We left. I came back. He's sitting down still with the note in his pocket. And I looked at him. And I said, listen, if you put that note on the table, I'm quitting with you. You are not alone in this. Bitterly. If you're quitting, we're quitting together. You are not alone. Do not feel like you are alone. I don't care how my life may go. I see this indecisive energy. Do it, and I'm going to be right with you. The moment I said that, he slammed the paper on the desk. I quit. I wrote mine up too, right next to him. Bam. I quit. I'm with you, brother. After that, it was a big weight. Me and him laughing now. We wasn't laughing before. We were laughing and stuff. Oh my, all he needed was some support. He didn't want to do this alone. You're not alone no more. I served for the entire building, and now the service is no longer needed. I met who I needed to meet to connect me with these people. Service is no longer needed. Then I leave CVS. It starts getting tricky now. Where am I going to go? Rent is right around the corner. I need to find a job. I start applying. Still no wife. Still no none of this, right? But it's all leading me. And each time I go to a new place, I meet new people and new things are given to me, new revelations, epiphanies. I applied to all these jobs, and then 3 jobs came. Speedway and then 2 others. These 2 other jobs was paying a lot of money, but I didn't have a car. I was willing to commute to the places. It was this Lazy Boy, and it was this boxing gym. It was me training and me being motivational for the people there. Those 2 places, aside from Speedway, it was paying a lot of money. It was far, though. I asked Source, what serves for me right now? I went to all of the, because I got an interview for all of the places. I went to all of the places, and then eventually, Source gave me this guidance to just go to Speedway. It's right by your house. So I went with Speedway. Still no wife, no none of that. I'm in Speedway, and we're having a grand, beautiful old time. Communicate with people. They love my energy. I'm training. I'm the assistant manager. Everything is going good. And then one day, about a few months in, me and one of the coworkers were very close. We're talking, and I was like, for whatever reason, I just got this random revelation. I'm finna meet the love of my life. Me and her was laughing like, what? Yeah, I was like, yo, anytime Source sends me these big visions like this, I always pay attention to it. But I just had this weird feeling that I'm going to meet the love of my life. And it sounds so familiar. So we just let it pass. She was like, well, when you find her, let me know. And because she wants all the tea, because she knows about my spiritual stuff, she wants all the tea. I was like, perfect. Yeah. I had a trip to go to Cleveland like a few days after I told her that. So we're thinking I want to meet her in Cleveland. No, I come back. You beat her? You bite her? No, I haven't found her. She's like, oh man, I wonder when she's gonna come up. And I'm like, yeah, I got the energy. I seen the vision. I seen what she looks like. All of that. Then I end up, because I'm traveling to do shows all over the city, and I'm going other cities and stuff, traveling, doing shows, performing music. One of the times I went to Dayton, and I performed. It was a great performance. Everybody said I'm the greatest. All of this. Then we get snowed in, so I have to go to a hotel. And the hotel, at night, the GM of the first Speedway location said I'm getting transferred. I thought I did something wrong. I thought because I called off. I don't know what happened. I came back. They said it was a big story about another employee over here. All of this. Another employee over here had issues with this person, this GM, this manager. They started fighting. The employee was a good employee. So they said, instead of firing him because he's a good worker, let's transfer him to this location. The location that's next to Nadiie, because I told them when I got hired, I can only work at 2 locations. This one and this one. That's right next to my house. So the one that I was at was over here. It's still not that far, but I said only these 2 locations. They said, because you said that, we're never going to transfer you over to the location they need you. So I'm like, perfect. I could have fought. I could have said, no, I only want this location, and they would have given it to me. They would have given it to me. This location. Source said, Nadiie, just keep moving with the flow. I've never steered you wrong on every single job you went and you experienced something grand and miraculous, right? Yes. Just go along with the transfer. Perfect. I got transferred to the location speed that was closer to my job. I'm working there for about 2-3 months, right? Lo and behold, I'm cashing some customers out, and this woman walk in, and there's this familiar energy. But she walk in, grab something, she cash it out, and she leave. And I'm like, who is that? I feel like I know that person. And then about a week later, she comes back and actually comes into my line. And I had my big amethyst crystal, and I actually ended up giving it to her. And she was like, "Oh, a nice crystal. Is that amethyst?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "That's my birthday stone. My birthstone. My birthday is February 3rd." And I was like, "My birthday is January 1st." And then we had a small talk conversation. Oh, hi, my name is Nature. My name is Nadiie. And she was like, "Oh, do you know what the Nadies are?" And all of this. We started talking, right? There's a long line, so I said, I'm being real dry. Thank you. Spirituality, yes. Crystals is nice. All right, lady. I have to deal with these people, lady. But nice conversation, lady. You kind of seem familiar, lady. But we said our, goodbyes, and she went on about her life. Something is familiar about this lady, but let me cash out these people. After everybody was cashed out, I grabbed my phone and I said, Source, if this is who I think it is, if this is the same, because I have a wife in the spirit realm. I'm like, if this is my wife, when I open Instagram, may her name be the first name that pop up. Y'all have this power. That's why there's words and there's power in words. Come on, let's go outside, buddy. So there's power in words. Y'all, when I said that to Source, mind you, I don't know this person in physicality. I know this familiar energy. I just feeling that this is my spiritual wife. I don't know though. So I ask God, if this is who I think it is, when I open up Instagram, I type the search bar, may her name just pop up. Guys, guess what happened? That's exactly what happened. You know how Instagram works though. Nobody's gonna pop up unless you've searched them before or there's mutual followers. Nobody know her. Nobody that I know her. Nothing. We performed a miracle in that moment. Open the phone, type the search bar, bam, right there. I was like, is that her? Click it. I don't know if it's really her, because like her page was on private. The Instagram image is really small. I'm like, I think it's her. So I sent a follow request. A week later, she joined the follow request. And we started talking. Now, the first thing I said was, it's easy to find the light in the darkest caves. And we should start talking. Lo and behold, all of the information from all our conversations, when we started looking back at everything, like, oh, snaps, I remember this. We started having epiphanies with one another. I started telling her things about herself that she never told nobody. How do you know this? Because we know each other. She started telling me stuff that I haven't told nobody. How do you know this? Because we know each other. Oh, snaps. She went to her poetry book one day and she was talking about, she wrote a poem about one of her kids being an archangel. But she didn't reveal that until I started telling her, I have a kid that's an archangel. I met them, I met all my kids and all of this. Everything coincided, and at that moment, bam. Yes, here we are. So then we rekindled this marriage. We continued it. Beautiful story, yes. But the theme of all of it is I would not have met her if I got in the way of these transitions in my life. If I fought for this job or fought for this and let me restrict this and hold this, I wouldn't have met my wife. I met her at a speedway. And turns out that she lived across the street the entire time. The entire time I was here, she lived right across the street. Never seen her until the frequencies matched. Until I started changing my life and so I started focusing on this. That's when she finally appeared and we attracted one another. So trust and know when you're going through the unknown, a transitional period, you're leaving connections, you're leaving jobs, you're leaving places, you're moving to a new place. Trust and know that it is okay, because while I was going through it, I did not know what was going to happen. I just knew God is not going to steer me wrong. And because I have that level of knowingness, I got my holy connection again in continuation. Thank you. Yes, it's very, very beautiful. I didn't even know I was going to talk about that story. It was like, God was like, this is the perfect time to talk about that. So yes, in the panels, and it's no coincidence that she just texted me just now. She said, "Great rising, baby boo, I love you." like she knows something, like she's watching. I don't think she's watching though. So let's end this panel, and now, alrighty, everybody. Yes, you free float into it. That's the heart of freedom. Exactly. Now, this is coming from a person that didn't care about relationships. I didn't care about none of that. I always tell people, I need holy connections. We have a mission. I'm here for a mission. If you're here for the mission, we're together. Perfect. We're together. We get it. We got it. Perfect. It now is just blossoming. So now that we got that beautiful story, we are now going to conclude today's live with our prayer. All right, so everybody sit up, stretch, get all the energy flowing into you. I believe I'm with my divine counterpart. We're just here to test. Yes. Get all the energy flowing in through you, stretch. Very beautiful service today. This will be posted later on today. Remember, everybody, before we could start our native prayer, click the link in our bio. If you see today as a serving, you can click the link in our bio, click donate. You can donate whatever you see, sir. Be as generous with the donations as possible. We're very grateful. If you need a book a session with me, you can click the link in the bio, click book a session. We can talk about some one-on-one things. Also, click the link in the bio, click Nadiie Black's guidance. All of these lives, Friday and Sunday's lives at 8 a.m. and all of the Secrets of the Soul are the lives where I just pop in for like 20, 30 minutes. The last one was an hour. That's not average. It's not typical. So let's just say keep talking. So I kept talking. Typically like 20, 30 minutes. Those will all IE. If you click the link in the bio, you will see Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube as the last 3 links. Click that. Sound is out. Alrighty, everybody hear me? We're all good? You can hear me now? 33s in the chat if you can hear me. 33s in the chat if you can hear me. Perfect. Now, Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube will be in the last 3 links when you click the link in my bio. Those 3 links will take you to my new album, Why We Fear. One of the most powerful albums. Is very, very powerful. It's very reminiscent of Bob Marley Exodus. It's like Exodus for rap and R&B music. Very powerful. Make sure y'all listen to that. And if you click the link in my bio and you click Nadiie Black's music page, you can listen to one of the songs on Why We Fear called GPS, the music video. So y'all click Nadiie Black's guidance to watch these videos, but also click Nadiie Black's music page and listen to our song GPS. Very beautiful video, and that song is on our album Why We Fear. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. You can click those links to listen to those. Now that that's out the way, thank you. Let's continue on with this prayer. Thank you, Source, for guiding us to this present moment. We are very grateful for you bringing forth this awareness. Thank you for everybody that is here. My name is Nadiie Black. I am Siksika of the Blackfoot tribe. That's what Siksika translates into, Blackfoot. We're extremely grateful. I'm a medicine man. We were initiated in the realms of astral at a very young age, one of the youngest medicine men to walk the face of this earth. Very, very grateful for all of your being present, for staying here, for understanding the value in God, the value in that which we call Source. Here we begin. Ayo a pistuki, ispamokanan, na kait sitsinan, na keki mutsitsinan, na koka motosanan, nina, nikista, nah six, kitsika komemo. Oh, tokena na pistuki. Nakaikaki masana. Ikinapi. Nistoapi. Akanistoa. Thank you. Thank you, God, for guiding us to being in this present moment. For all of us to recognize that it is okay. May all of our perceptions, our existence, our presence exude the qualities and energy of it is okay. For now, moving forward, today and all of the coming days and tomorrows, we align with the frequency that all is well. All is in perfect alignment. There is no need for fear, no need for doubt, no need for thoughts even. Today, moving forward, we recognize and affirm the master within us, the master of our emotions, the master of our existence. We know what it is. And what is that which is love, for that is the description us as humans have of that which is source. And may our breath be distributed within all of our existences, for the breath is life. So life be distributed in all of our existences for eternity. And we live forever, and we love forever, for that is how God exists. And so it is. By our names, we affirm it. Perfect. May I please get an and so it is in the chat? May I please get a and so it is in the chat? Remember, everybody, click the link in the bio. Click Nadiie Black's Guidance to watch all of these lives. Today's live will be posted a little later over there. Make sure y'all click the link in the bio and click Nadiie Black's music page to listen to our new song, GPS. There's a music video, very beautiful music. Please listen to that and you can share it. And when you actually listen to the music, you will be like, why isn't this person all over the world? There's a specific reasoning, and now we're slowly starting to branch out. So make sure y'all click the link in the bio, Nadiie Black's music page, and listen to our song GPS. Watch that music video, and watch any other video that you feel called to. Nadiie Black's Guidance is where the lives will be posted. All of this is in the link in the bio. You can donate if you felt today's service provided love and service for you. You can book a session with me if you need a one-on-one. Click the link in the bio to do all of these things. Album Music, Spotify, and YouTube. The last 3 links, when you click the link in my bio, that's where the album would be, Why We Fear. So if you want to listen to the album for free, listen to the YouTube version. But if you have Apple Music or Spotify, you can listen to those versions as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. We love all of you. May peace be with you for all eternity.